Once again, good morning. To formally start the program, let us have the opening prayer to be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem and JMC hymn.
Sikoy ko kamigimu tolangit. Sikoy ko kamigimu to aldoy bulan. Ikaw ang nagbuhat sa kabituunan. Ikaw ang nagbuhat sa kalibutan. Manama, mawantog ka. Warag po ko ilingkoy ko. O Diyos, kahibulungan ka. Busa ikaw lang ang simbahon ko. Manama, mawantog ka. Warag po ko ilingkoy ko. O Diyos, kahibulungan ka. Busa ikaw lang ang simbahon ko. Busa ikaw lang ang alagaran ko.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Sa langit kong pagaw, ay hinatang tula kau
Once again, good morning to the faculty of the College of Teacher Education, to our Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Josefina D. Ortega, to our speakers, and to the College of Teacher Education's interns, good morning. Welcome to the second and the last day of the Internship Orientation with the theme, Shaping Oneself Towards Becoming a 21st Century Teacher. I am Jean Dagatan, one of the faculty of the College of Teacher Education, your host for today's event. Before we proceed to our first speaker, I am requesting everyone to please turn on your cameras for the whole session. Thank you. As future educators, it is very essential to have a complete armor in dealing with life's circumstances and responsibilities professionally. Last week was indeed full of bountiful wisdom as you interns were going to deal with various possible challenges with possibility as we tackled personality development, mental health, and readiness level. And for this session, you are about to have another wave of information that would definitely give impact towards shaping you into becoming a 21st century teacher. So without further ado, let us have our first speaker, Ma'am Marichelle U. Ayog, the Deputy Director of Programs and Services of Children's Joy Foundation, Incorporated, as she talks about sexual harassment. So let's give her a virtual clap.
Good morning.
Hi ma'am, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Narinig ba ako?
Yes po.
Okay. So,
Yes, ma'am.
good morning, future teachers. Okay ba tayo dyan?
Morning po, ma'am. Okay
Good
po.
morning. So, alam ko, nasa bahay tayo ngayon lahat, di ba? Wala naman sigurong gumagala-gala ngayon. So, before we start, tap yourself and tell it to yourself na makikinig ako today. Okay, can we do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Makikinig
Okay,
ako today.
wow, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good morning, no? So we will start what is sexual harassment is all about. As you can see in our screen, our PowerPoint presentation.
Yes ma'am. I've already presented po.
Ma'am, parang na-mute siya, ma'am.
Na-mute po, ma'am.
Sorry. Okay. Our learning objectives for today. Number 1, the definition of sexual harassment. Number 2, types of sexual harassment. 3, learning different types of sexual harassment. 4, techniques of sexual harassment. Techniques kung paano tayo mag-respond if we experiencing sexual harassment, then how to report sexual harassment. Do we have any idea what is sexual harassment is all about, mga participants?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, thank you. So, mahirap talaga ang virtual, no? I'm requesting everyone to be participative also para pag exchange of ideas regarding what is sexual harassment is all about. So first we have to define sexual harassment. Okay? What is sexual harassment? Next slides, please. Okay. It is an act or a serious act involving any unwelcome sexual advances, request or demand for a sexual favor or other verbal or physical behavior of a sexual nature. Now, it might be committed by a government employee, official in work-related, training, or education-related environment. So when we say sexual harassment, it is unwelcome sexual advances. So pag magsabi tayo na unwelcome, so hindi ka talaga pumayag, tama? So it's a no, 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 or your teacher or your professor request or demand for a sexual behavior. So that is a sexual harassment. Tama, mali? Hello? Okay. So, ibig sabihin ng sexual harassment, it is unwelcome sexual advances. Next, ano ba yung mga polisiya? What is the policy of the state on sexual harassment? Meron ba tayo dito sa Pilipinas? Yes, meron tayo. Sexual harassment which has been declared unlawful in the workplace, training, and education environment will not be tolerated as it violates the dignity and the human rights of a person. Kaya noong February 14, 1995, meron na tayong Republic Act 7877. It's called Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995. So it states that an act declaring sexual harassment unlawful in the employment, education, or training environment and for other purpose. So ito po yung laws na ginawa ng ating government to protect us from sexual harassment. So ano po ba yung mga penalty na kapag nag-commit tayo ng sexual harassment? So ang penalty ng sexual harassment is ang pagkakulong ng 1 month to 6 months and a fine of 10,000 to 20,000 or both. So ibig sabihin, makukulong ka pa, magbabayad ka pa ng penalty. The same with act of lasciviousness, on the other hand, it could be mean imprisonment under revised penal code. So ibig sabihin, pag gumagawa tayo ng sexual harassment or it's either verbal, non-verbal, or other form of sexual harassment, meron talaga tayong kaparusahan. Hindi pwede ipagbalang bahala kasi it has malaking impact din ito sa ating sarili. Meron ditong mga disturbance na nagagawa. Okay? So, on the second slide, if it's unwanted, it's harassment. So if you don't have any consent at all, it is unwanted. Ayaw mo talaga, it is an harassment. So hindi ibig sabihin na pag inutusan kayo ng mama nyo magugas ng plato, it's an harassment. It's a harassment. Hindi po yun. Ang sinasabi natin dito, sexual unwanted or yung mga favor in returns of something. Okay? So we have two types of sexual harassment. We had a quid pro quo. Latin terms mean this is for that. The terms refer to condition, place on a person, career, or terms of employment in returns of sexual behavior. Or a person in a position of authority, typically a supervisor, demands for sexual behavior as a condition of keeping in a good benefit or a good job or a good grades. For example, your teacher threatens you to fail you if you will not have a date with him or her. Ano na? So, ibig sabihin, it's a type of sexual harassment. Or, pag sinabi ng teacher mo, sige, ang grado mo is 75. Gusto mo bang tumaas ng 80? O makipag-date ka sa akin? Or, pakis naman sa'yo. So, that is sexual harassment. Bakit? Or quid pro quo. Bakit? Kasi, ginamit niya ang authority niya o ang position niya towards sexual advances. So, anong tawag dyan is quid pro quo. So, that is also one of the types of sexual harassment. So ano naman itong hostile work environment? Is the typically sexual harassment that occurs when there is a frequent, pervasive, unwanted sexual comments, advances, requests, or other similar conduct. It can also occur when there is other verbal or physical conduct that is in nature of or is sexual nature, or a single or severe incident such as sexual assault could create a hostile environment. And more commonly, hostile environment is also created by a series of incidents. So ano ba ito? For example, sa classroom nyo, itong magkakaibigan, parati sila nag-gather doon sa room ninyo. So always, ang ginadiscuss nila is purely sexual activities. Every day, yan ang nandyan ka sa harap nila. So that is hostile work environment. So saan ba pwede magamit ang sexual harassment? Of course, marami. Pwede sa daan, maka-experience tayo ng sexual harassment. Sa sasakyan, sa mga jeep, mga public utility vehicle, buses, pwede tayo ma-harass niyan. Or kahit nga lumalakad lang tayo, we can experience sexual harassment. So, ano ba itong 4 ways of sexual harassment? Ano ba ito? So, let's learn. So, we have 4 ways of sexual harassment. Okay? So, next slide, Simon. So, the first one is verbal. Pag sinabi natin verbal, ito yung mga, ito yung tinatawag natin na, okay, this 4 ways of sexual harassment. We have the verbal, non-verbal, physical, textual, yung gamit ng mga electronic, pwede laptop, mga messenger, ganyan. So, ano pala itong verbal? So, we have example here. Pag sinasabihan mo yung babae na, hubagang ate oy, so that is verbal. Hubagang kuya oy, that is verbal. Or turning, catcalling. Yung mga, yun din pag whistle natin, so that is sexual, no? That is also part of the harassment. Yung mag-comment ka ng mga sexual comments, yung turning work discussion to sexual topics, kahit hindi naman siya. Telling a jokes or a stories, that is verbal harassment. So, pwede siya, no? Akala lang natin, nagjo-joke lang tayo, pero that is part pala ng sexual harassment. So, be careful tayo when commenting or yung mga ginagawa natin jokes because others, pwede nilang matanggap yun, pero yung iba, hindi. It's feeling nila na babastos talaga sila. Pero from you telling that one, sinasabi mo na, bagang ate, it's just a compliment, pero that is not a compliment. It's a harassment. Okay? So the next one is a non-verbal. Looking a person up and down. Yung bang tinitingnan mo yung tao pababa at pataas, parang hinuhubaran mo na siya, parang sa isip mo, hinuhubaran mo na siya. That is non-verbal. Kasi wala kang sinasabi, pero tinitingnan mo siya up and down, parang may gusto kang sabihin, no? Staring at someone. O might be, nagagandahan ka, pero sa tingin ng babae or lalaki sa'yo, nagagandahan siguro siya sa damit mo. Pero sa pag-iisip mo, iba na pala. So that is a non-verbal harassment. So displaying sexual suggestive visual, making sexual gesture with hands or through body movements. Like, for example, non-verbal, karang magbukindat ka, daladayon, pagkindat ni mo, tapos daladayon ka, pinapauti lips dayon ka, pinaana dayon. So that is non-verbal. So, sa big no-no na, tapos pinaana pagid ka, burakag nang sidus ka og lalaki or babae ba. So, bilang na to, might think that is just normal kasi ginagawa na yan noon, but it's a non-verbal sexual harassment. So, ano pa ba ang physical So, pag sinasabi natin physical harassment, meron din pala, no? Giving a massage around the neck or shoulder. So, baka sabihin mo, for example, one of your friend na, hilutas ako diribi, kay sakit kaayo ako, can you give me a massage because I feel pain in this part of sa aking arms. So, pwede yan kasi nagsabi ka. So, that's not an harassment. Pero pag pinuntahan ka, tapos minessage ka agad yung likod mo, pero hindi mo pala sinabihan, it's unwanted, ayaw mo, so that is physical sexual harassment. No? O yung may kaibigan ka, nag-uusap kayo dalawa, babae at saka lalaki, tapos yung classmate mo pala, hinihipo-hipo ka na dito. Tess, pahingi naman ng pahingi naman ng candy mo, pahingi na, pahiram naman ng libro mo. So, hinihipo-hipo ka na dito. So, ibig sabihin, kasi kung ayaw mo, pag ginaganyan niya ka, di ba, mag-react ka talaga. Sabihin mo, uy, ayaw, wag. Parang bastos. Oh. So, by reaction. Pero pag nagustuhan mo naman, sige friend, sige friend. So, that is not harassment na. Pero pag sinabi mo talagang unwanted, ibig sabihin, that is sexual harassment. Kasi ayaw mo, unwanted nga eh. Di ba? Okay. So when we say sexual or electronic, like for example, electronically or yung friend mo sending message with sexual context, including pictures and video, pero hindi mo naman hiningi. Yung para bang send niya lang ng send. So that is sexual pa rin. That is harassment pa rin. Kasi nga, hindi mo naman hiningi. Hindi ka naman nang hingi. Pero bakit yung friend mo, yung sir mo, o yung classmates mo, yung kaibigan mo, na nagbibigay sa'yo ng mga pictures na mga nude. So, hindi yan siya pwede. That is harassment pa rin. That is form of harassment. The use of sexually explicit language harassment, cyberstalking, and threats via all forms of electronic communications. That is called textual electronic sexual harassment. So, posting, blogging. So, that's why, tayong mga millennials, we must be aware or yung think before you post. So hindi ibig sabihin that is your Facebook, that is your account, you can post anything. So hindi po yun gayon. If you have a responsibility, kung meron kang, you still have the responsibility in using all kinds of social media kasi pwede po tayong masampahan ng kaso niyan. Okay? So marami pa tayong forms of sexual harassment. Ito, repeatedly asking for dates, despite verbal rejection. Or example, si Sir, Maria, can we go out for a date? So, ganon, that is part of harassment. Kasi, he is using his authority na makipag-date sa'yo, pero ayaw mo naman. Diba? Touching, pinching, or brushing up against someone's body unnecessarily or deliberately. Kissing or embracing someone against her will or her or his will. No? Di lang po pwede babae lang yung pag si babae lang parate. Pwede din ma-harass ang lalaki. Kasi ang ibang lalaki, ayaw din naman nila yung mga hinahag sila, kinikis sila, di ba? So, pwede tayo, babae, lalaki, tumboy, bayot, will experience sexual harassment. Hindi lang po ang sexual harassment para lang sa babae. But, babae, lalaki, bayot, tumboy, may ngipin o wala, pwede ma-experience ang harassment in all forms. As what I have said earlier, pwede siya sa daan, sa vehicle, mga public utility vehicle, or kahit umupo ka lang na may katabi ka na mga bystanders, pwede ka maharas. So be careful tayo yan. There are lots of forms of sexual harassment. For example din, si teacher or si students, no? Kasi student and teacher is a big no-no, gina siya na relationship, di ba? So, sabi ni teacher, Maria, bigyan kita ng 95 na grades. I-promote kita, or ano ba. Basta something na nag-offer siya sa'yo, pero ang in return is sexual favor. That is a harassment. So, ibig sabihin, he or she is using the authority. So, kahit na, or classmate mo, sige, pahiramin kita ng tablet kasi wala kang tablet. Pero, i-date mo ako, or pakis naman, or pahawak sa kamay mo. So, that is sexual harassment. So, ano pa ba? Ano pa ba ang mga sexual harassment? Yung palang dirty connotation, yung pagsabi natin na puta, buring, ano pa yan, yung mga words na hindi dapat sabihin. So that is a form of harassment. Kasi you are humiliating or embarrassing someone, such as a woman. Kung man ang bayhana na, that is prostitute or puta, ana. Pero wala kayong evidences that she is doing that one. Or she's doing that one, pero wala kang karapatan na sabihan mo siya. That is also a form of harassment. Or sabihan ka ng, if you are applying for a job, example, magsabi yung, okay, ma'am, sir, you are for final interview na. Pwede ba for final interview, can you wear something sexy? Or pwede ba makita ang cleavage po? Or can you makita yung hubog ng katawan mo? So that is a harassment also. So that's why be careful sa mga gestures, mga sinasabi, or ano yung naririnig natin from someone. So we have to balance that one. Kasi baka unaware si sir or si ma'am that is sexual harassment na pala, or that is harassment, ang sa kanya pala is part of kuwan lang, atik-atik lang, jokes lang, pero that is an harassment. Kasi joking also is green jokes na by sexual na kaakibat, that is a harassment pa rin. Okay? So use of malicious touching, yung paghawak-hawak natin, request or demand sexual favor. Actually, there are many forms of sexual harassment. So, hindi ko na lang ito isa-isahin kasi nabigay ko na yung example, no? Making offensive hand or body gestures at someone. So, yung sinabi ko sa inyo na parang nag-flirt siya, babae man o lalaki, that's part of sexual harassment pa rin. Okay? So, the other one, if you see harassment happening, speak up. Being harassed is terrible. Having bystander pretend that they don't notice is infinitely worse. So, we will be discussing what are the techniques, no? What are the techniques para ma-avoid or para ma-stop natin ang sexual harassment. Okay? So, next slides ko, ma'am, sa techniques. Okay. Then we have, the first one is we have direct approach. So when we say direct approach, confront harasser and tell him or her that the behavior is not appreciated. So if you have that guts, no, kasi ito talagang tao ito, grabe na ito sa akin. So sabihin mo kagad, kuya, ma'am, sir, bastos na good kayo na imo ang ginabuhat. So that is a direct approach. Parang stop mo kaagad kung ano yung posible pa niyang gagawin. Direct approach, no? Ibig sabihin, diretso, confrontation. Bawal yan, bastos yan, yan pwede, pabugawin sa akin yan. So that is also part of a techniques. So we also have the other one, the indirect approach, kasi you don't have the guts to confront someone or that person. So ito ang gagawin mo. You can send letter to the harasser stating that the facts, personal feelings about inappropriate behavior and possible resolution. So you can text, bastos, you can write, no, or you can text, Sir, bastos lagi kaayo to imong gibuhat sa ako or sir, wala na ko giganahan, wala na ko nagustuhan to imong gesture nga ginapakita sa ako. Pwede ba undangon nimo or else I will file a case. Pag mayon kag I will file a case, wala na si sir or si ma'am. Hadlok na yun na sila. So, indirect approach because not everyone has a guts to confront, no? So, yung iba, indirect approach, text, email, or magsulat sila. So, that is also one of the technique. Pwede din po yan. Okay? So, the other one, we have a third party. So, you don't have the guts to sulat. You don't have the guts to confront. So, anong ginawa mo? You have to request assistance from another person. Ma, pa, can you please help me? I was I was harassed by Mr. blah 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 or my classmate blah blah blah. So you can ask for help kung ayaw mo talaga, or you can tell your teacher about that. You can also tell your teacher that you experience sexual harassment, no, from someone else. Kung if you feel comfortable with sir, kay ma'am, kay ate, kay kuya, basta third person. Kasi you don't have the guts to confront. You don't have the guts to write a letter or send a message to the perpetrator. So, pwede yan. You can ask us, or change of command. Report the behavior to immediate supervisor or other in chain of command. So, for example, in school, you experience that one, you can tell your teacher, your advisors, or your prefect of discipline, guidance and counselor nato, or someone you feel comfortable ka within the school na can help. Or the other techniques is, and also other techniques, kung ayaw talaga huminto, then you all exhaust the techniques, you can file a case. No? Pwede tayo mag-file a case or a formal complaint regarding regarding what you have experienced no, na sexual or na harass mo. Pwede na siya. But also, how are we going to tell or how are we going to report sexual harassment? Okay? So, number one, if you experience sexual harassment, again, number one, you can tell your parents. Wala man yun ta, if labaw na og close kaayo ta sa tuwang parents, we have this close bonding with our parents. We can tell everything, di ba? So, with this, you can tell your parents na, ma, pa, ka-experience ko og sexual harassment sa school. Pwede ba ko ni mo tabangan ani unsaon na ko ni kay mahadlok na ko moadto sa school, di ba? So si mama ug si papa wadto sa school makipag-istorya kay sir or kay ma'am regarding sa na-experience sa iyang anak sa school or sa like kung nag-on the job training ba mo, na-experience ni intern dito sa example lang na school sabay exam so di lang ta mag-job og school or public school na yan na-experience ito, na-harass siya ni sir sa iyang pag-OJT dito or sa estudyante, then we can tell our parents or someone na we can feel comfortable na maka-istorya ta, then maka-help sa atua. Okay? So, or we can also, number two, we can speak to a teacher. Ma'am, sir, or sa inyong agency field instructor. Ma'am, sir, I was harassed by one of the faculty in Barbie School. Example, Barbie School. So, si teacher, immediately, mukandak magina siya og conference with the other school. Na magitay mga ginatawag na trialogues. Makipag-istorya si teacher sa school together with the complainant to discuss kung saan na-experience ninyo during your on-the-job training sa school. Ano na siya. So, if we will not speak, so, meaning, gina-compromise na to nga ang paghitabo, no? So, we have to speak to someone else. Kailangan yun, mahibalo sila nga we feel or we experiencing sexual harassment or harassment in any places. Pwede na to na ingon. Kaya, para po ma-stop ang mga perpetrator in doing sexual harassment or harassment to someone else. Okay? If sa school po nahitabo, if wala gyud action, ang school, no? Wala action regarding your complaint, you can ask a copy. Number 3, ask a copy for a sexual harassment policy. Of course, in Jose Maria College, we have that one because we have the squad, child protection policy, child and youth protection policy. We have that one. So it is incorporated already in our protection policy regarding this kind of harassment. So in Jose Maria College, be assured that all your complaints, if you experience this kind of harassment, matahatagan gina siya og pagtagad. And the perpetrator will be sigurado yun nga mapunish yun siya. Okay? Then, sa pa ba? File a complaint with the Department of Education. For example, kung wala yun, istorya na ka sa imong mama, nagstorya na ka sa imong teacher, nakipagstorya na ka, tapos wala niya po actions, ang school baron, or kuan, that's the time we can also file a complaint. Pero kung dili school ang involved, ma'am, what if, ma'am, dili school ang involved, pwede gyapon ta maka-file og action, ana. Pwede gyapon ta maka-file og complaint, ana. Asa man ta mo file? Siyempre, una, dito ta sa police station, no? Magpa-blatter sa ta. Na si Mr. De la Cruz, gikuan ko, giharas ko, giunsa ko pagharas, you can explain that one during sa blatter. Para po masumunan or mapatawag ang perpetrator, kay para po ma-held liable gyud siya sa iyang mga actions nga gibuhat. Okay? So, ma'am, sir, unsa bay effect kining sexual, na bay effect ang sexual harassment sa ako, Naa ba? Naa ba effect? Yes, naa. First, affect ani niya sexual, emotional effect. Pero, ano man, yan no, maapektuhan man ko. Of course, that is natural. Maapektuhan jud ka, labaw kay it's unwanted. Di gani ka gusto. Diba? You can feel anger, masuko ka. Mahadlo ka, kay basig balikan ka. Humiliation, ma-feel ka na embarrass ka, na ulawan ka. Shame, guilt, feeling nimo you are betrayed. Betrayal. Then that is also a part of your violation of your dignity as a human, di ba? Powerless ka, wala kay control sa mga panghitabo. So that is a effect of harassment. That is your effect on emotional aspect po na siya. So what about sa mental health effect? Of course, naaba wala na gihapon mga ma'am and sir. You can feel anxiety, depression, panic attack, difficulty on concentration, then loss of motivation. No? Some others, suicidal attempt pa na ilang buhaton because they are mentally stressed. Epektado na ang ilang utok. So, dili gyud pwede nga ipagwalang bahala ang sexual harassment. Nga itago-tago lang nato sa atong kaugalingon. We have to speak up. Harassment. So, we will not be compromising sexual harassment. Okay? So, unsa pa? Pag moabot ta sa physical effect, no? Sabay, apektado ba ito ang physical effect? Of course, apektado gyapon. Increase stress level, headaches, fatigue, usay, dili pa dyan makatulog, kay basig pagkaugma, maharas na punta. Usay, di na taganahan mo kaon. So that is part of physical physical effect to sa ato. So, that's so in sexual harassment, dili gyud pwede nato i-compromise. That is why ibutang gyud ako sa first nato nga PowerPoint, stop sexual harassment, say no to compromise. So ibig sabihin, we have to stand, speak up for our right. Okay? So thank you everyone, and if you have questions, clarifications, feel free to ask so that we can answer your question sa atuang makaya og tubag. Okay, once again, good morning and thank you for listening, everyone.
Thank you, Ma'am Chel, for having or for clearing all the possible factors for sexual harassment po. So thank you as well for sharing very notable input to our interns for them to have awareness of their work environment and to ensure that all are aware of the proper steps to take in the event that harassment will occur or will happen in the classroom setting or even in outside. All right, so thank you, ma'am. If you do have any questions, you can turn on your microphones, interns.
Good morning, ma'am. I have a question po.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ma'am, if ever example, nagsumbong ka pero lack ka ng evidence or wala ring witness na may possibility na yung parang mabaliktad ka good, ikaw na yung makulong, parang ganun. Ikaw yung
Actually, ma'am, pwede siya wala evidences. Kaya naman tayo ginatawag na non-verbal, di ba? Kung kitanaw day ka diya tapos tanaw ka diya head to foot, kapila na niya gibuhat sa imuha. So kailangan pagid ba og evidence sa imong kaugalingon ikaw man ang naka-experience ana nga kana nga paghitabo. Okay ra kaayo mo file og complaint ana ma'am. Kay ikaw man gyud mismo ikaw sa imong kaugalingon is a witness kung giunsa ka pagharas sa baong tao. So okay lang ma'am, you can file a complaint. Ayaw
Okay.
kahadlok. Pwede ra kayo ma'am, bisag wala ebidensya kay ikaw mismo, you are the evidence.
Okay.
Ikaw ang naka-experience. Yes ma'am, napay mga pangutana?
Good morning, ma'am. Si, Jason.
Ay, good morning,
Ang question
Jason.
lang ako, ma'am. Di ba nag-ingon ka ganyan na pag harassment siya, pag ginatapik ka, tapos what if estudyante, ma'am, nagatudlo ka, di gitapik nimo siya or gigunitan nimo yang bukton, tapos unintentional nimo siya ginabuhat ba, tapos dili ganahan sa estudyante pero wala siya nagsulti. So harassment bagyapoy matawagan na, ma'am. Wala man po siya
Tapik naman
nagreklamo.
kaya, sir. Sir, pag yung taog tapik, ana lang, di ba? Pero katong maghimas-himas na gani ka, sir, mao na gito siya, sir, ang harassment. Kung nitapik lang din mo siya nga, tapik lang nga, oh, kumusta man, di ba? Ana lang man ta, murag, dali lang. Pero ang ginamin ako kaganina nga, paggunit-gunit, sir, is kanang anion bitaw ka, sir, oh, pagtapik nimo niya magana ka sa imong estudyante, sir, that is a harassment na gina, sir, kay nagimas-himas naman po ka, sir, og apil. Na naman siya sexual nga kuan. That is part niya murag harassment na saya kay pagtapik nimo kung isa lang katapik, it's okay, that is not an harassment. Pero pagtapik nimo sir, dala ka nagipasimas dira na ginabuhat nimo na permanente, so that is a harassment. Iba
Wala
ang
ko na
tapik.
ginabuhat, mama.
Basig imo atong
Situation
tapik
lang,
sir kay
situation lang, ma'am, basig.
okay wala sir kung nitapik lang ka sa estudyante, oh kumusta man kay syempre ana lang man tano or pero karon sa ato ang new normal dili naman ta pwede magtapik-tapik kay 1 meter pero sa una pwede siya no. Oy kumusta man ana, oy kumusta na ka Ana Marie, kumusta na ka John, ana lang man tano pero pag tapik nimo sir, nakita nimo kung video sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Pag-tapik nimo sir, yung naganaana pa jud ka sir, naganaana pa jud ka, that is sexual harassment. So, okay naman sir, nakita nimo ang difference sa pagtapik lang o katong pagkuhan.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Pero kung sobra po di mo pagtapik sir, o yan, nahulog siya sa kanal o nabangga ba siya, pwede ka pong kamapahilag kaso. Ala sir, physical injury naman to. Bita sir, hinahinaya na po pagtapik sir. Pero dili na siya harassment kay isa lang man. Pero gawas lang yun kung dala na dyan di mo paghimas-himas o pag pinch gari ni mo sir, pag-ana ni mo nga, dala po ka nag-ana sa imong estudyante. So that is harassment yapo na siya. Or naggunit ba ka nag-handshake ba ka sa iyaha? For example po sir, nakipag-handshake ka sa imong estudyante, tapos yana po ni mo ang imong kuhan. So that is harassment yapo na siya sir. Kay shake hands lang man mo ang gusto niya, anong nag-ana po man na imong kamot, nagapilapil po man naghimas-himas. So that is harassment yapo na siya sir. Natubag ba nako Sir Jason ang imong pangutana?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Salamat sir. So dapat ba tayo laing pangutana?
Any question, everyone? Remember, we are doing this for you to be aware as well in case na na may mga future students na magsumbong po sa inyo ha, in any case of sexual harassment. In that way, you are already knowledgeable of what are the steps that you're going to make to get some report if ever this will happen. This is also to protect your future students.
And also to protect yourself from sexual harassment.
Any more questions? Any other question? Wala na? Are we all clear?
Clear sa akin, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ma'am Sheng.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, so that is Ma'am Marichel. So let's give her a virtual clap. Virtual na lang tano for now. So thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing, again, a very notable input to our interns or future educators for them to have awareness of their work environment and also to ensure that all are aware of the proper steps to take in if ever sexual harassment will happen in the event. All right. So thank you so much, Ma'am Sheng.
Thank you.
Thank you po. All right. So let us have now our next speaker that will talk about Code of Ethics. Let us all welcome our program head in the College of Teacher Education, Sir Alan Magsipok. So let us give him a virtual clap again.
Hi, ma'am. Good morning.
Hi, sir. Good morning, sir.
Ma'am, can I share my screen na, ma'am,
yes, sir.
before I proceed?
I-co-host ka, sir.
Di kayo ko kabalo ng Zoom ba? Nagulat ko sa Meet. Sige lang.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Sa mga nag-chat, good morning. Kaya na. Ayun. Sige po. Pag mag-full screen ko, ma'am, kaya mawala, no? Di na ako makita na kung kaugalingon or...
Nakasakilid, sir.
Na, akong screen?
Yes, sir, na, sir. Full screen siya, sir.
Sir.
Ayan, dali. Mag-hide-hide, magudag mga...
Hi, sir.
mga buttons below. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ma'am Jean, for the modest introduction. Actually, when I looked at the program, I thought it's parang 1 or 2 hour lang na siya na, na activity. Then I realized, pagtingin ko ngayon sa program, half day pala talaga siya. So, I prepared parang speech lang siya ba? And then yung pala, 1 hour pala binisa na time ni Ma'am Jean. So I thought we have the school officials here. Sige, anyway, I just acknowledge them. Dr. Jose Maria Gonzalez, the president of Jose Maria College, Dr. Cifina D. Ortega, our vice president for academic affairs, and Ma'am Jean Dagatan, our teacher, internship coordinator, the instructors who are present here today, and our aspiring professional teachers, our beloved interns. In behalf of Dr. Marieta A. Muñez, the Dean of the College of Teacher Education, a pleasant day to all of you. And before I go further, I'd like to congratulate our interns here for reaching this part of their journey as future teacher. Nakapos na ba ko, ma'am?
Yes.
Wala pa?
Full screen na, sir. You mean slideshow, sir?
Oh. Dili pa?
Dili pa, sir.
Kani.
Ano, sir?
So once again, congratulations tayo na sa mga interns that you have come this far. It's a proof that you're willing to answer that call in service to the society as an educator. Now, my message for you today is about the Code of Ethics for professional teachers. But before we proceed on the details of the Code of Ethics, because we know that It's a lot. Marami siya. Marami. No? I'll focus first on this very important thing, and I want you to remember it. Okay, interns? And it's about professionalism. Okay, professionalism, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, it is the combination of all the qualities that are attributed to trained and skilled people. And similarly, the Britannica refers to professionalism as the standards, practices, and motivations associated with a profession. If you notice the words qualities, trained, skilled, standards, practices, motivations, these words denote competence in work and appropriate behaviors, because no doubt that society expects much from the teacher. And as professional teachers, we have to demonstrate professionalism in whatever we do. And also, according to Dr. Bilbao in her book, The Teaching Profession, professionalism is both a professional and personal trait. It speaks to every teacher to assume and maintain professional attitude to his work and in dealing with his associates in the profession, your co-teachers. It should be his self-imposed duty. Take note, it should be his self-imposed duty to constantly improve himself professionally in dealing with the learners. The teacher should always strive to be professionally correct, but friendly. Even if professionally correct, friendly, and still sympathetic. And moreover, the Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers spells those demands of the state, the community, the higher authorities, and the school officials, and of course, the parents. And as expressed in the preamble of the Code of Ethics, if you're going to read, teachers are professionals who possess dignity. And I highlighted the words dignity and reputation with high moral values, as well as technical and professional competence. Technical, professional competence in the practice of their noble profession. They strictly adhere to, observe, and practice the set of ethical and moral principles, standard, and values. That's from the preamble of Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers. Now, the teacher's work is not confined merely on the development of certain fundamental skills and abilities. As we all know, the teaching of the 3 R's. If you remember 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, but also includes the development of desirable habits and attitudes that go into the formation of character. His manner of living as teachers should be a worthy example for the learners to emulate or to imitate, or to our fellow teachers to be proud of, and for the community to feel that they are being enriched by it because of the professionalism of our teachers. Hence, professionalism is something demanded of a teacher, both as a professional and as a person. So, highlight ko lang ng konti itong Article 11. Iuna ko na lang ng konti itong Article 11. Article 11, Section 1. Okay, may 4 sections ito, but itong 1, 2, 3 muna. A teacher shall live with dignity. Okay, what does dignity mean? What does the word dignity mean? It means being worthy of respect or being esteemed or honored. A person with dignity has formal reserve. Kasi hindi siya basta-basta lang kung ano lang ang kanya mga actions, no? May formal reserve, seriousness of manner, in appearance, and in language. Appearance, kagalang-galang, and in language, not just in verbal or oral na mga expressions, but also whenever we post something, our feelings in social media or in cyberspace. Section 2, a teacher shall place premium or high value, high value upon self-respect and self-discipline as the principle of personal behavior in all relationships with others and in all situations. What does that mean? Yung self-discipline. Huh? It's synonymous to self-control. It refers to correction or regulation of oneself. Remember that, ha? Correction, dapat alam niya na, uy, mali pala yun. So, auto-correct. Kung sa ano pa yan siya, kung sa grammarly, auto-correct, or sa word, auto-correct. Self-aware siya. And regulation of oneself for the sake of improvement. Section 3, yan, ito rin, maganda rin ito. A teacher shall maintain at all times a dignified personality which could serve as a model worthy of emulation by learners, peers, and others. Now, the big words, yung worthy of emulation. Ibig sabihin, the teacher is someone who deserves to be copied or imitated, no? Since values are taught and caught. Remember that, ha? Values are taught and at the same time caught. Tinuturo natin, at the same time na-absorb din sa atin natin mga learners, and also natin yung mga peers. So therefore, a teacher should be someone who is deserving to be imitated because of his not just abilities but also because of good values and behavior. So those tatlong sections na yun ng Article 11, the big words, you live with dignity, premium and self-respect, and self-discipline, yung model, worthy of emulation, they're found in the Code of Ethics, are both, remember, professional and personal traits that are expected of teachers. Okay? So, parang summary or parang one sentence professionalism in a sentence is that professionalism is the hallmark of a professional teacher. Pag sinabi natin hallmark, it's synonymous with the words brand. Yung brand, ano yung symbol, ano yung seal, ano yung tatak, ano yung trademark of a professional teacher. And always remember that teachers have tremendous power to influence students. Yan. And society expects much from us. Often, when young people do not behave as expected, sinipap gani ang mga bata, mga estudyante, parents will raise the question, is that what you learned from school? Sagi lang din ng mga teachers. Is that what you learned from school? May tudo si mga teacher? Diba? Clearly, the teacher's impact on the learners lasts. And the teacher is the key to student achievement. So my dear interns, you then have to prepare yourselves to become the best and the brightest. Sabi no, the best and the brightest talaga. Hindi pa best, the bestest. The most caring, competent, and compassionate teachers. Always remember that. Professionalism is the hallmark of a professional teacher. Okay? Ano lang pa, intro pa lang yun ha, kasi gusto ko lang i-highlight itong word na professionalism that I'm going to talk about. I think, ano lang siya, parang review na lang ito because I know and I believe that you're familiar with the Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers. Alam nyo yan. Kailangan lang natin i-review para ma-remind kayo. Okay? Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers. So start with, ayan, sabi yung professional, global classification of people yan who excel in their respective careers. Kaya may tawag na professional teacher, may professional basketball player or professional singer because they excel in their respective careers sa kanilang field. And in semantics, ano yung meaning of word profession? It's a type of a job that requires special training. Pag sabing profession, ano bang profession mo? It's a type of a job or career that requires special training. Kagaya sa inyo, special training, imagine 4 years. Ang iba, 5 years. Ang iba, 6 years. Grabing special training. No? Mahabang panahon. Long and arduous years of training. And it gives status. And when you graduate in your degree and you pass the board exam, you'll be given by the government the status. A little card that will tell you that, or will tell the world or the nation that you are a professional teacher. And of course, prestige. as an individual. Diba? Maganda pakinggan ng I'm a professional. So, pero there are a lot of expectations from professional teachers. What else? Oy, kasaba sa musilingan. Professional is, yun, described yun kanina, with a person who has competent skills, observe high standards of the job, and abides by the code of ethics. So hindi lang pala dapat matalino, hindi lang dapat magaling, kundi meron ding sinusunod na mga magagandang kaugalian or mga magagandang asal based on kanyang profession, which is teaching profession. Ayan, ito yung kanina, preamble. So we start with Article 1. Okay lang mo, Article 12 ba ni Kutob? Sige lang, Article 1, scope and limitations who are included in the Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers. Section 1, it provides the educational institutions to offer the quality education for Filipino citizens kasi nga kailangan ang quality education for Filipino citizens. That's why we have to, the government has to impose yung Code of Ethics para meron talagang standard of values ang mga professional teachers. In Section 2, the same article, the Code of Ethics covers all. So lahat ng public and private school teachers in all educational institutions, preschool, primary, elementary, and secondary levels, hindi kasali ang tertiary level. Kung technically pag-uusapan who are included in the Code of Ethics, basic education lang, from elementary lang, kinder to high school, hindi kasali ang tertiary levels. But of course, since we are also teachers, we do not exclude ourselves with the Code of Ethics. Susundin pa rin natin yan. Although technically, itong Code of Ethics for professional teachers is crafted or has been crafted for the basic education. Pero of course, teachers pa rin tayo, kasali pa rin tayo. Ako, I don't exclude myself even if I teach in the college level. Okay? So that's Section 2. Next, Article 2. Now, Article 2 talks about the relationship of the teacher with the state, with our nation. How does a teacher relate to the demands of the state? Ano ba yung code of ethics natin when we talk about the relationship of the state, of the teacher and the state? Section 1, the school are the nurseries of the citizens of the state. Each teacher is a what? A trustee. We have been entrusted with the what? With the mandate of transmitting cultural and educational heritage of the nation. So tayo mga teachers, binigyan tayo ng trabaho ng state, ng gobyerno, ng ating nation na i-transmit yung ating cultural and educational heritage sa mga estudyante. Because the school, in first sentence, the school are the nurseries. Before ilagay ang isang plant sa farm, kagaya na for example yung mga for example mangga or durian, dadaan mo sa nursery wherein doon sila parang i-nurture, i-nourish talaga na pagdating ng panahon, after how many months, pwede silang ilagay sa farm kasi sa farm, medyo, hostile ang environment kaysa sa nursery, which is controlled. So sinabi doon that the school are the nurseries of the citizens of the state, we teachers are the trustees, tayong mga magbalantay, gisaligan, to transmit cultural and educational heritage of the nation. Section 2, every teacher of school shall actively help carry out the declared policies of the state and take an oath to this effect. Merong typo dyan ng konti that every teacher shall actively help carry out the declared policies of the state. Ibig sabihin, kung ano man yung declared policies of the state, like now, what do we have now is the K-12 curriculum. Some teachers may not agree with that policy because they say we're not yet ready, we don't have enough resources and everything, maraming excuses. But since we are teachers, we have to actively carry out those declared policies of the state because it's a mandate. And we have to take an oath to this effect. Kaya kailangan meron talagang public na declaration of your profession, wherein you're going to raise your right hand in front of the stakeholders, the government officials, that you are taking the oath of a professional teacher, that you're going to help the nation, to build it to become a progressive nation. So yun ang sinasabi ng section 2, na tayo mga teachers, whether we agree or disagree with the policies, we have to help carry out those policies and take oath to that effect. Okay, section 3, same pa rin sa article 2. It says, in the interest of the state, of the Filipino people as much of its own, every teacher shall be physically, mentally, and morally fit. So, dapat ang isang teacher physically, mentally, and morally fit na naman, di ba? How are we going to carry out our mandate if we are not physically fit, or mentally fit, or morally fit? Oh, you know what I mean, no? May mga teachers naman na meron silang like minimal na kapansanan, but it does not hinder them to become a good teacher. Sinasabi dito is, for example, totally blind. Parang mahirap, no? Pero meron mga rare cases na pinagtuturo pa rin. Physically, sinasabi ko, walang kamay, or for example, di ba, hindi siya parang hindrance yung kanyang parang deficiency in carrying out the mandate of the state. And mentally, of course, paano ka magturo kung mayroon tayong konting problem or disorder mentally, and morally fit. Kailangan morally fit yung ating perspective on what's right and what's wrong. Kasi nga, we influence, diba, na sa previous slides natin, a teacher has a great impact to influence our learning. So in section 3, it says the teacher shall be physically, mentally, and morally fit. And I believe that all of you here, our interns, are physically, mentally, and morally fit. Mentally fit. Rhetorical question. Section 4. Every teacher shall possess and actualize full commitment and devotion to the duty. Actualize full commitment and devotion to the duty. Parang mga soldiers. Para tayong mga sundalo. Ang mga sundalo, they fight terrorism, they fight violence, mga rebelde sa gobyerno. But teachers, we teachers, we fight against ignorance. We fight against yung misinformation. Ayan. So we have to actualize full commitment and devotion to the duty. Kailangan devoted talaga tayo, hindi yung alanganin. That's part of the Code of Ethics, section 4 ng article 2. Section 5. Teachers shall not engage in the promotion of any political, religious, or any partisan interest. Shall not engage, ha? Sorry, may mga typo na sa kay presentation mo yung na. And shall not directly or indirectly solicit, require, collect, or receive any money, service, or other valuable material from other person. So we are not allowed, or teachers are not allowed to engage in campaign, in religious tawag niyan, yung pag-promote ng isang religious na organization or any partisan interest. And we are not allowed to solicit, directly or indirectly solicit, require or collect or receive money yan from other person or entity for such purposes. So dito pwede magkuan, tawag niya, mag-solicit for yung katawag niya na unauthorized na pag-solicit. Okay? And we are not allowed to engage in any political or religious or partisan interest. Hindi pa pwede mangampanya. Okay. Section 6. Every teacher shall vote and exercise all other constitutional rights and responsibilities. So it tells that as teachers, of course, we have to exercise suffrage, yung ating right to vote, to choose our leaders, and exercise all other constitutional rights and responsibilities. Kaya na mga political rights, yan, sama yan sa suffrage. Okay, section 7. The teacher shall not use his position or authority to influence or coerce any person to follow any political course or action. So not just campaigning, But moreover, we are not allowed, it's unethical for us to use our position and authority to influence other persons or our students to follow political course of action. Halimbawa, okay class, this coming Saturday, our organization, teachers, blah, 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 organization will have a rally at the, for example, at the city, sa Rizal Park, for example. And I'm going to give plus points for those students, for any of you who will join our rally or something like that, na mga political course of action. Okay, nakuha ninyo? So we are not allowed, or it's unethical for us to use our position or authority to coerce a person for any political course of action. Naman, di ba? Lain po kayo, no? Magdani ka para sa imong political course of action. Section 8. A teacher shall enjoy academic freedom and shall have privilege of sharing the product of his researches and investigations. Sinabi ng academic freedom, this talks about our freedom to produce knowledge. Yan. Through our research and our investigation. Academic freedom, in the case of the IBED teachers, elementary up to high school, they have this academic level of academic freedom where they can decide what method, what technique, or what pedagogy they're going to use to teach a particular subject matter. Yun ang kanyang academic freedom, although medyo limited siya. Sa college naman, in higher educational institutions, we have the academic freedom, not just in pedagogy but also on the topics that we see fit that's needed by our students. So talking about academic freedom, yun yung freedom ng teacher kung ano ang nakikita niyang nararapat para sa kanyang klase, para sa kanyang mga students. Okay, also yung kanyang product of research and investigation. Okay, dito tayo sa Article 3. This time, how does the teacher relate to the community? Sa ating komunidad. How do teachers relate ethically with the community? Section 1, the teacher is a facilitator of learning and of the development of the youth. So sinasabi dito, dinideclare dito na the teacher is a facilitator of learning for the development of the youth. Section 2, the teacher shall provide leadership and initiative to actively participate in community movements for moral, social, educational, economic, and civic betterment. In other words, sinasabi na Section 2, the teachers are given the responsibility to provide leadership and initiative in the community. So, although I would say that our code of ethics is ideal or idealistic, no? Kasi the teacher kailangan mag-provide ng leadership sa kanyang community. So every time that there is a bayanihan or like yung maglilinis ng paligid, so dapat ang teacher ang mag-provide ng leadership ng direction. Okay? And initiative. Kung nakita niya ang kanyang komunidad na for example, maraming mga bata paggabi na naglalaro pa rin kahit gabi na, kahit coffee hour na. So may initiative siya dapat na mag-open up sa mga leaders ng community na gawan ng action. Yan sinasabi doon. It's because teachers are sinasabi nga is we are leaders of the community. Okay? And of course, we have to actively participate on those community movements. That's what Section 2 is telling us. Section 3, the teacher shall merit reasonable social recognition, for which purpose he shall behave with honor and dignity at all times, nasabi ito sa Article 11, and refrain from such activities na na-mention talaga, specifically gambling, smoking, drunkenness, and other excesses. Pagsusukal, pagsigarilyo, drunkenness. Lain po kayo, makita kasi musulingan nga, uli si sir, uli si ma'am, kay barag-barag. So, di pa ka manigarilyo. So, because the teacher, highly esteemed kasi ang teacher. So, i-avoid yan. Unethical for a teacher na ma-degrade yung teaching profession because of his actions, of his activities like itong gambling, smoking, drunkenness, and other excesses. Sabing other excesses, kanang mga palabi, Napalabi na ba? Nightlife, no? Pwede siguro nightlife, no? Pero di po palabi. Mga, basta, you know that, mga other excesses, mga pasubra-subra na kanang unnecessary. It's because the teacher shall behave with honor and dignity at all times. Okay? Section 4. The teacher shall help the school to keep in the community and shall therefore study and understand local customs and traditions. Yung sinasabi ng Section 4 is that the teacher shall not be ethnocentric, neither ethnocentric or sinocentric. In other words, understand, be culturally relative. Understand the local customs and traditions. Halimbawa, ang isang teacher ay na-assign sa isang area wherein that there are it's a community of say lumads, for example. Doon siya na-assign. It's unethical for a teacher sabihin na sama na ilang customs ay unsa man ang ilahang mga tradition ay mga diba? It's unethical for a teacher to be like that. Instead, the teacher shall help in educating other people to study and understand the local customs and traditions of the community in which she is in. Kung saan siya nagtuturo o kung saan siya nakatira. Okay, hindi siya dapat discriminate yan sa mga customs and traditions. Section 5. The teacher shall help the school keep the people in the community informed. Ayun. Help the school keep the people in the community informed about the school's work and accomplishments as well as its needs and problems. So it's also our duty as teachers, it's ethical for us teachers to inform the community about the achievements of the school. Ano yung mga programs na in-offer ng ating school para sa mga out-of-school youth? Do we have in our school yung mga programs for out-of-school youth para sa mga bata na hindi nagpupunta na sa school? I-inform. Kailangan yun i-inform ng teachers sa community. And also sa mga needs and problems ng school. Yan. Kailangan ma-inform din ng teacher, or of course in a proper way, that the school needs something. Yun. Kasi nga, partner ang school at saka ang community. Okay? So that's in Section 5. Section 6. The teacher is an intellectual leader in the community, especially in the barangay, and actively involved in matters affecting the welfare of the people. So the teacher is an intellectual leader. Intellectual leader, meaning ano siya, a person who is regarded as yung may pinag-aralan. In other words, hindi siya yung tipo ba na wala siyang initiative. Meron siyang initiative. Intellectual leader in the community. Yun ang sinasabi ng Section 6. Section 7. The teacher shall maintain harmonious and pleasant personal and official relations with other professionals, with government officials, with the people individually or collectively. Section 7 tells us that it's ethical for teachers to maintain good, cordial relationships with other officers or other professionals in the society, whether individually or collectively. So dili ta mangaway o mga kapwa professional, dili manglibak sa mga kapwa teacher, dili bully sa mga bagong teacher. Yan, dili mangdaot, magpakalat og fake news sa mga against government officials. So maintain harmonious and pleasant personal relationship. Section 8. The teacher shall possess freedom to attend church and worship as appropriate, but shall not use his position to influence to proselyte others. So teachers, we have the right to attend our church as we see what we believe in, we worship and as appropriate. But remember, we are not, or it's unethical for us to influence or proselyte others. Meaning, kanang after, for example, after sa klase, okay class. After this session, I invite you to a Bible study with me, mga 30 minutes, ganyan. It's unethical. Yan ha, to proselyte others. Proselyte meaning to persuade your students or other people to believe in what you believe in, especially in yung spiritual na matters. Okay? So, medyo critical itong section 8. Kadali lang ha. Kadali lang. Hello? Jean?
Hi, sir.
Yes, sir. Madunggan ka, sir.
Sorry
Yes,
for that,
sir.
mama.
It's okay.
Kay kini mong gud akong area din ni second floor man gud ni nya adiri ang opening sa floor ba ana siya nya wala ko bang tinisa ka akong eldest na ano ba 2 years old isa ka nya open ang floor door ana ba I thought na ayang mama o yang lola sa ubos nya nag-ana dito ang bata ba mutong sorry kayo ha
Okay,
wala nakabantin isa kasi
Okay lang, sir. Sir, okay lang, sir. Maintindihan na mo.
napulbahan ko ba kay abi man ko na yung lola nagsunod Migi wala nahulog, napulbaan ko ba? Wala di kita yung lola. Wala nagtanaw sa ubos. Okay, sige anyway. Ganyan talaga ang buhay. Basta nasa bahay work from home na mo gud mga anak. Sige, we'll proceed. Okay, so section 8, we have the freedom to choose the church we want to work to go in and to worship as we see it appropriate for us, but we are not, or it's unethical for us to use our position as teachers to influence others. Okay, Article 4, this is about the relationship of the teacher and the profession, meaning how does a teacher relate to the teaching profession? Section 1, the teacher should actively ensure that teaching is the noblest profession. See, since teaching is the noblest profession, as teachers, we have to ensure that it is kept as the noblest profession. Dito pili unethical for us yung mga things na ginagawa natin na unprofessional. Okay? And we should manifest genuine enthusiasm and pride in teaching as a noble calling. And enthusiasm and pride. What do you do, Miss Hamlag? Naiba may teacher amang ko. No, it's not a manifestation of pride and genuine enthusiasm. I am a teacher. Pero mga old mindset yun. Pero ngayon I believe na we teachers have this enthusiasm and pride in teaching. So yun ang sinasabi ng section 1. We should always uphold the professionalism in the teaching profession. Yun ang section 1. Section 2, the teacher shall uphold the highest possible standards of quality education. Highest possible standards of quality education. Yan, ibig sabihin, in everything that we do, in preparation of our instructional materials, in the way we deal with our students, our learners, our clients, and our co-teachers, we should always uphold the highest standards of quality education. Make the best preparation for career teaching and be at his best at all times in the practice of this profession. Idealistic, no? Very idealistic. Imagine, huh? Make the best preparation and be at his best at all times Matutulog pa ba tayo niyan? O, diba? Idealistic guys. That's what that's what is declared or provided in the Code of Ethics. Section 3. The teacher shall participate in continuing professional education, professional education program of the Professional Education Commission. In other words, we should not stop learning. After graduating in our bachelor's degree, we will pursue postgraduate degrees, masteral, doctoral. We will participate in seminars and trainings. Dapat always tayo nag-grow as a professional. So hindi na siya stagnant. We should always grow. Okay? That's what Section 3 is telling us. Section 4, the teacher shall help if duly authorized to seek support. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. The teacher shall help if duly authorized to seek support from the school, for the school, but shall not make improper misrepresentations through personal advertisement and others of questionable means. Meaning, pwede tayong mag-solicit, pwede tayong mag-seek ng support from entities, from NGOs, as long as we are duly authorized. Unethical yung mag-improper misrepresentation. Kunwari, teacher ka sa isang public school and then you approach barangay office official or a konsihal and you ask for a donation and you use the name of the school, that's unethical. Yun sinasabi ng improper misrepresentation. Okay? Section 5, the teacher shall use the teaching profession in a manner that makes it a dignified means of earning a decent living. So dili pwede na himo ng teaching as something like not dignified means of earning a decent living. Kung hawd ka magtudlo, for example, hawd ka magtudlo, you should use it as a dignified means of earning of a decent living. Paano ba maging dignified yung teaching profession? For example, magturo ka ng kuan, how to, kasi teacher ka, so magaling ka mag-explain, magaling ka magturo. Magturo ka how to, how to, yung mga hindi magandang gawin. So, ganyan. So, di ba? I hope you get my point. Ano ba yung mga, hindi ko masyadong familiar sa mga hindi magandang gawin. Alam ko lang kasi yung mga magandang gawin. So, sa'yo na sinasabi. Or, sige, ganito. Yung teacher, hindi na siya satisfied sa kanyang work. So, nag-form siya ng isang group and tinuruan niya kung paano magplano, mag-hold up ng bangko. O, di ba? Magaling siya magplano, magaling siya gumawa ng mga graphic organizer, na mga flow chart. Ayan na ba? Basta kay keep the teaching profession dignified as a means of earning a decent living. Okay? Section 5 yun. Okay, let's proceed to Article 5. Ma'am, pilan lang ka minutes, ma'am? Article 5 pa ni. Okay, makita sa inyo. Screen lang.
21 pa man, sir.
Okay, sige. Thank you. Article 5, the teacher and the teaching community. This time, how does the teacher relate to the teaching community? In other words, how do we relate with our principal, with our school administrators, yun, so teaching community, other teachers in other schools? Yan. Section 1. The teacher shall at all times be imbued with the spirit of professional loyalty. Yan. Loyalty in a sense that you're loyal with where you are teaching. Yan. Di ka nagtudlo ka sa nga school, pero ginalibak nimo imong sariling school. It's not professional loyalty. Di ba? Imbued with the spirit of professional loyalty, mutual confidence, and faith in one another. You believe each teacher that he or she is doing good. O dili kay libak ko nimo kapwa teacher nimo sa pikas nga room sa teacher. So kung libak nimo sa imong line mga teacher nimo friend, kung si teacher ko an ba no? Susutudlo di katulog na. It's unethical. Teachers should be imbued with mutual confidence and faith in one another. Self-sacrifice. Kaya niyan, self-sacrifice. Sacrifice mo yung salary mo for example, para ipakain mo bili ka ng food para sa mga students mo if ever ma-assign ka sa mga far-flung areas for the common good. Oy, in full cooperation with colleagues. That's section 1. I hope nakuha niyo ha. Ano lang unya kung na-confuse mo. Section 2. The teacher is not entitled to claim for work not of his own, ayan, and shall give due credit for the work of others which he may use. This talks about plagiarism. Papasok in plagiarism. We are not entitled. It's unethical for us to claim something for our own which is not ours. Ayan. So kailangan talaga merong mga proper citations in our research, proper na mga references in our paperworks. Ayan. And shall give due credit to the work of others. That's why we should be used with yung citing references in our assignments, in our mga written works. Hindi lang kay sa thesis nagagawa ng reference, but also in our other requirements. But a professional teacher, mas lalo na hindi pwede mag-claim na hindi naman pala sa kanya na work. Alright? Section 2. Now, section 3, ito. Before leaving his position, a teacher shall organize and leave to his successor such records and other data as necessary to carry on the work. Ayan. Anong ginagawa ng ibang teachers? I've heard some stories na magpadispedida kasi matransfer na siya sa syudad, yung teacher sa bukid, magpadispedida siya, dagang kay food, yan, order ng McDo, pakain sa mga co-teachers and the principals. Kasi the next day or the next week, matransfer niya siya sa city. But when the principal required the teacher of the documents, ano yung mga class record ng mga students, ano yung mga grades na ganyan, ang mga summary of grades, wala na organize. Sila mo ang mga records. It's unethical. Yan ha. Before leaving position, the teacher must organize and leave to the successor yung mga records. Kaluoy po sa mga estudyante mo kung mga wala ilang grades. Mugnaan na lang sa successor. It's very unethical, but sometimes merong ganyan mga nangyayari. Section 4. The teacher shall hold inviolate all confidential information concerning associates of the school, shall not divulge to anyone documents shall not get released, or remove records from the files without official permission. In other words, hindi pwede mag-divulge ng mga information about sa mga co-teachers or about the school or any other documents na hindi pa nare-release. Maguna-una ka ng pangsumbong, uy, holiday daw sa kuan, declare daw next week na mag-holiday, so sultuin talang kudaan. I've heard from the office na ganyan-ganyan, merong mga changes sa ating mga schedule, ganyan-ganyan. Una-una bitaw. So it's unethical. Unethical yung disclosing or revealing mga confidential information. Halimbawa, isang teacher, nakita niya dun sa records ng HR, kaya nag-sign siya dito pinapunta siya ng HR, pinasign siya ng kanyang contract doon, for example lang, tapos nasiplatan niya, nakita niya dito nga ang IQ level sa yung co-teacher kay ingani baba kayo, libak din siya dito, uy kabula ba ka, ang IQ level ko ano ba teacher ingani na unethical. Those are confidential information about your associates. So yan ha, so dili maguna-una, dili magbuot-buot, dili magchismis. Kung may nga na, kaya nakita na information, confidential information, then just keep it for yourself. If ever na accidentally, meron ka nakita na confidential information. Mga sildo, mga sugo ng mga teachers, sildo ni ko confidential information na siya. Kung ano, ipakalat mo sa mga co-teachers na, nga naman yung sildo, nakadako ako, gamay lagi, confidential information yan siya. It's unethical. Section 5. It shall be the responsibility of every teacher to see correctives for what may appear to be unprofessional and unethical conduct of an associate. In other words, it's ethical for us teachers to see correctives or atong i-correct ang atong mga associates. It's just ethical to tell our co-teacher na, Chair, bakit ganyan ang like yung pag-format mo sa class record, hindi man ganyan, Chair, yung yung instruction sa atin ni principal, ganyan. It's ethical to give corrections to our associates. Mga unethical conducts ng ating mga associate, nating mga co-teacher. Pwede tayong magbigay ng correction. If ever there are unprofessional and unethical conduct of our co-teachers, pwede yan siya. As long as it's appropriate and proper in a proper na setting. Ayaw po nang nasa siguro sa in public, siguro personal. Pwede yan siya. It's our responsibility. It's ethical. Okay, section 6. The teacher may submit to the proper authorities a justifiable criticism against an associate, preferably in writing, without violating any right of the individual concerned. So if teacher really feels that the unprofessional and ethical conduct of an associate or meron siyang complaint should be given action by proper authorities, it should be in writing. Dili kay sumbong lang, verbal lang. It should be in writing. You have your name on it and you're going to sign it with your signature. Okay? So kailangan proper siya. It's ethical. Unethical yung magsumbong-sumbong lang. Tapos wala kang hindi mo kayang panindigan through writing. Unethical yan siya. Yun ang sinasabi ng section 6. Section 7, the teacher may apply for a vacant position for which he is qualified, provided that he respects the system of selection of the base of merit and competence. Provide further that all qualified candidates are given the opportunity to be considered. In other words, when you apply, it's just ethical to respect the system of selection. What's unethical? Unethical yung you don't respect the system. When you apply for a position in a particular sa public school, unethical yung you don't respect, masuko ka sa principal. Okay. So may sistema, mag-ano ka. We are not in the position to criticize to complain against the system, but we have to follow what's in the system. Of course, based on merit and competence. Yan. Although we may complain if ever na merong nangyari na instead na ikaw ang rank 2, for example lang, tapos merong na rank 1 na alam mo naman na yung kanyang performance ay hindi naman pang rank 1, pwede rin yun siya as long as you put it into writing. Okay? So yun ang sinasabi ng section 7. Respect the system based on merit and competence. Let's move to Article 6. This time, the teacher and the higher authorities in the Philippines. How does a teacher ethically relates with higher authorities in the Philippines? Sa national na to, or sa mga government officials, not in the school anymore. Section 1, the teacher shall make it its duty to make an honest effort to understand and support the legitimate policies of the school and administration regardless of professional feeling or private opinion, and shall faithfully carry them out. In other words, even if, as I've said earlier, if you are not if you don't agree with the policy, but if it's legitimate of the school or administration or of the nation, you still have to make an honest effort to understand and support those policies. Even if you have this professional feeling, doktor ba ako? Professional feeling or of private opinion, and shall faithfully carry them out. Pag ito ay mga legitimate policy ng school or ng department. Okay? Next, section 2. The teacher shall not make false accusation or charges against superiors, especially under anonymity. Kailangan kung meron kang complaint, meron kang accusation, it should be written, black and white, documented, may signature mo, hindi yung anonymous. Post na ka sa Facebook, sama ng DepEd region, blah blah blah, mga pandera, mga principals dira, mga anonymous ang imong profile, or wala kang document for that. So it's unethical to make false accusations. Section 3, the teacher shall transact all official business through channels except when special conditions warrant a different procedure, such as when reforms are advocated but are opposed by the immediate superior. Ibig sabihin ng Section 3, ang teacher shall follow protocols, official business, proper channels. Meaning to say, if a teacher has an idea of a change of, like say for example, a change of scheduling, or a change of say, meron siyang suggestion to change the say uniform ng school, or basta anything na pwede niyang i-suggest, it should be through official business or proper channels. Dadaan talaga sa principal, hindi yung mag-skip or hindi dadaan sa ano sino yung next na authority, except when special conditions warrant a different procedure. Halimbawa, ang kino-complain mo is ang principal, alangan naman sa kanya mo rin i-send yung letter of complaint mo, di ba? So dun sa next sa kanya. But those are special conditions, such as when reforms advocated, meron kang reforms na gustong i-advocate, suggestion mo, ayan, but is proposed by your principal or immediate superior. Ang sinasabi ng Section 3, official business through channels. Meaning susulat ka, as I said, black and white, written document with your signature, proper channels, proper protocols. Section 4. The teacher, individually or part of a group, has a right to seek redress against injustice and discrimination to the extent possible to raise his grievances within democratic processes. So it's ethical for us to seek redress. Sabing redress, ang ibig sabihin niyo parang solution to the injustice that if you think that is an injustice, ayan, and discrimination. Of course, these grievances, these complaints shall be raised within democratic processes. Hindi dadaanin sa violence o yung mga magulong paraan, but it's still through a democratic process. That's ethical according to Section 4. Section 5, the teacher has the right to invoke the principle that appointments and transfers of teachers are made only on the basis of merit and need in the interest of service. Sir, ano sinasabi ng Section 5? The teacher has the right to invoke the principle that appointments and promotion and transfer are made only on the basis of merit. Example, teacher ka na sa public school, for example. And then, meron kang kasabayan din na teacher, after mga 1 month lang, na-promote ka agad siya sa head teacher or basta ka mas higher sa imuha. So the teacher has the right, it's ethical to invoke that principle na, di ba, ang appointments and promotion and pag-transfer sa ibang school or sa ibang station ay through basis of merit. Pwede ko makita ang basis ng merit niya, bakit siya na-promote, bakit siya transfer ako dito and ganyan. Pwede. It's ethical to invoke that principle of appointments, promotion, and transfers. Okay? I hope you got that. That's Section 5. Section 6, a teacher who accepts a position assumes a contractual obligation to live up to the contract, assuming full knowledge and employment of terms and conditions. Once you accept the teaching position, it's assumed that you have the full knowledge of the employment terms. Anong sildo mo, saan ka mag-duty, anong oras ka mag-work, and conditions. Once you accept that position. Okay? So, magiging unethical yan pag sasabihin mong, ay, wala ko kabalo, hindi ko makalagi alam na ganyan pala ang duty ko, ganyan pala ang oras ng work ko, ay, ganyan pala ang trabaho ko. Once you accept the position, you sign the contract, then you live up to your contract. It's unethical to say na hindi mo alam pag dumating ang panahon. Because once you sign a contract, it is assumed that you have the full knowledge of employment terms and conditions. Okay? Yan, Article 7. This time, the school officials, teachers, and other personnel. How do these entities relate? Other personnel, the school officials, and the teacher. Section 1. The school officials shall at all times show professional courtesy. Lahat. Helpfulness and sympathy towards teachers and other personnel. Such practices being standards effective school tuition, dignified administration, responsible leadership, and enlightened directions. Talking about the school officials, they should behave with courtesy and helpfulness and sympathy. Hindi ibig sabihin na, ay, ako ang school president, mga kuan lang mo diya, mga teachers lang mo diya. So, no, it's not. It's unethical for school officials to behave in a such way. No, it should be through standards of effective school supervision. Yan, dignified administration and responsible leadership. Section 2, school officials, teachers, and other school personnel shall consider their cooperative responsibility to formulate policies or introduce important changes of the system at all levels. And kasi kailangan merong coordination ang school officials, ang teachers, and other school personnel in formulating the VMG, for example. Dili kay ang school officials lang ang nag-formulate sa VMG. It's unethical. Since they are in the administrative position, they have to invite the teachers and other school personnel up to the canteen personnel. All right, we're going to formulate our VMG. O pwede rin, meron na tayong na-draft na VMG. Present namin sa inyo. What do you think about this? Cooperative responsibility. It's unethical na hindi i-consider ng school officials ang mga teachers and other school personnel in formulating those policies and changes in the school. Section 3, school officials are encouraged and attend to the professional growth of all teachers under them. So, yung mga school officials, especially sa human resource, so kailangan nilang encourage at kailangan nilang pagtuunan ng pansin yung professional growth ng kanilang teachers. Enroll ba si Ma'am Dinabese sa kanyang masteral o nagsali ba siya sa kanang seminar? Oy, may seminar dito, Miss Alavar. I'd like we want you to join this seminar and share to us the things that you're going to learn from this seminar. I-share mo sa amin after your seminar. Ayan. So yan yung sabi ng section 3. Encourage and attend to the professional growth of all teachers. Section 4, no school official shall dismiss or recommend for dismissal a teacher or other subordinates except for a cause. Wala lang, trick ko lang. Trick ng school official na ay hindi ko gana say ano na siya i-suspend or i-terminate na yung work. It's unethical. It should be with the cause or yung merong reason kung bakit. Okay? Section 5, school authorities concerned shall ensure that public school teachers are employed in accordance with pertinent civil rules and private school teachers specifying terms and conditions in their work, qualified, subsequent permanent tenure in accordance with existing laws. In other words, ang mga school authorities shall provide yung specified na working conditions sa kanilang mga teachers. Kaya kailangan meron talagang contract. Hindi lang yung hinahire lang, walang contract. Delikado yun. Ma-hire ka na walang contract, pwede kang sipain anytime they want. So kailangan merong pertinent civil rules, specified ang terms and conditions. And of course, kailangan merong subsequent na permanent tenure in accordance with existing laws. So merong mga contract na 1 year, merong 2 years. So at least merong tenure. Hindi yung walang tenure, after 2 months, di man ganahan sa imong HR, sa imong evaluation, kay nga luwi kayang teacher ma. Wala siya trabaho. Okay, this time, ito maganda ito, Article 8. The teachers and the learners. How do teachers relate to the learners? What's ethical? What's not? Section 1. The teacher has the right and duty to determine the academic marks and promotion of learners in the subjects they handle. It should be in accordance with generally accepted process of evaluation and measurement. Meaning, it's unethical for a teacher to deduct points, deduct grades, yan, from a learner sa kanyang grade kasi wala siya ganahin sa batasan. It should be in accordance with accepted process of evaluation and measurement, hindi yung subjective. Huwag ninyo ha, kaya na ninyo, okay, crucial ito dito. Especially sa learners kasi sila yung ating clients, yung direct natin ng mga customers. Okay, section 2, teacher shall recognize that the interests of the welfare of the learners are his first and foremost concern. So hindi concern or hindi priority ng teacher yung pagbebenta ng pagkain sa loob ng classroom or pagbi-business networking sa classroom. Kay networker ang po si ma'am si sir, lesson po siya networking dito. So it's not hindi yun ang priority, but the first and foremost concern is the interest and welfare of the learners. Hindi sila pwedeng iwanan kasi class, maghatod sa akong ano ha, sa ako ang kusino dito kay Ma'am Kuan sa pikas na room. Ha, dili sa mo kadali ha. Magsulat-sulat lang mo diha. Naisulat sa board. Ay, naku, unethical. Ha? First and foremost concern ang welfare of the learners and shall handle each learner justly and impartially. Walang discrimination, walang bias. Fair. Dili kay favor-favor o paborito-paborito. Unethical na siya. Section 3, under no circumstance shall teacher be prejudiced or discriminated against the learner. Or related yan sa Section 2, no circumstance shall a teacher be prejudiced or discriminatory against any learner. Okay, row 1, mga bright. Row 2, mga bright, medyo. Row 3, the bright. Mga row 4, mga jugs. Agoy. Discriminatory against it's unethical. Sa una na inana no, row 1 paingkag row 4 ka. Ay, kuanday ka. Sa una wala na siya. Wala na gyud mga wala na gyud kadungog na ika na mga special section, ano so hetero na tanan. Mix na. So it's unethical for a teacher to be discriminatory against any learner, especially sa kanilang mga abilities, kanyang physical abilities, kanilang mental abilities. We're not or it's unethical to be discriminatory against any learner. Section 4, the teacher shall not accept. Ito may question sa una si Mark Escobar ani, remember na ako eh. Sir, pwede mo daw o regalo kung kuan? Kung Teacher's Day. Yes, of course. The teacher shall not accept favors or gifts from learners, their parents or others in their behalf in exchange for requested concessions, especially if undeserved. Pwede kang tumanggap ng regalo. Lain po hindi mo dawato no. For example, na kay parent, dato kayo. Yung anak kay dili kay bright. O sa private school lagay na anak. No, pag-abot sa parent, di kag Hong Kong, ito ang kagbag. Sa kabag, mahalong nga bag. 3,000 pesos. Ma'am, regalo na ko sa mga anak. Pwede naman siya dawaton. Pero pag mayong gani ang parent na ma'am, akong anak ma'am ha, kagaybe siya ganang ko na garo. Ay ma'am, klarohon lang na ako ma'am, kani imong bag nagihatag sa imo, gihatag nimo sa ko. Okay. Dawaton na ko siya pero dili ni siya assurance ng pakapasar imong anak ingana. So kung masuk ko ang parent or di ay at least maklaro nimo nga mo di ang purpose o di ibalik sa iyang bag. Pero sis wala. Okay ma'am, wala problema ma'am. Imo na ba wala problema sa anak na bala ka kung sa imong tanong siya. Dawaton nimo na siya. Kaya nga no ug di mo dawaton, ma-offend ang parent. Wow, ikaw pa tagaagbag 3,000 di mo dawat. Di ba? Pwede ka mo dawat. But if it's in exchange for requested concessions, yan, especially if undeserved, pag imong dawaton, wala ani mo gi-clarify sa parent, it's unethical. Teacher's Day, pwede kayo eh. Section 5, the teacher shall not accept directly or indirectly any remuneration from tutorials other than it's authorized by for such service. Mayroong mga schools na meron silang in-offer na mga tutorials sa kanilang mga students. Ang teacher, pwede siyang mag-accept ng tutorials from learners as long as it's authorized in such service by the school. Pwede siya mag-accept ha with the school. Pero kung within school hours from 8 to 5 nag-accept siya ng tutorial na may extra na sweldo kasi kailangan extra income, that's unethical. 8 to 5 kasi 8 to 5 muna time sa school yan siya. Kuha ninyo. Pero kung mga gabi mag-51 talk ka, okay ra na siya. 7 PM mag-51 talk ka, 7 PM hangtod 12 padlawon wala kay tulugan na. Oh, di ba? Pwede na siya mga tutorials na. As long as it's not within the your time which is required by the school. Naman sa contract 7:40 to 4:40 man ang time sa school. Outside na pwede na ka mag other tutorials, but within that time hindi pwede. Okay, unless it's authorized for such service. I hope nakuha niyo to kay na-question sa online, na-confuse po siya ato. Okay, section 6, teacher shall base the evaluation of learners' work on merit and qualify to qualify for academic performance. Same ito kanina, no? That the teacher shall base yung kanyang grade sa work and merit ng student. Hindi subjective, kasi hindi siya ganaan sa ugali or siguro hindi magandang sumagot, may gandang gano'n, malita ang estudyante, di maminos ako pag magklasiko, wala, di na ako taga-agkuan. Plus point na or ganang bawasan akong grade ani. It's unethical. It should be based on the academic performance, work and merit of the learner. Section 7, ito. May question din ito sa una. I remember ito si Abay, siguro ito ng tanas ko ani. Or si Hamlag. In a situation where mutual attraction, ayan, and subsequent love develop between teacher and learner, the teacher shall exercise utmost professional discretion to avoid scandal, gossip, and preferential treatment to the learner. Oy, kamo, ini-graduate ninyo, ma-teacher mo. Kung mga dalaga pa dire, kung mga wala pa na ninyo, may possibility nga na makagusto sa inyo ang estudyante ninyo. For example, ma-assign mo sa grade 12 or grade 11. So, pila edad nila anak, 17, 18, ikaw, 21, 22. So, dili kayo yung edad. May possibility na yung learner, ang estudyante, makakrush sa imo, tapos magparamdam na sila. So, what will you do? What if ganahan po ka sa yaha? What if ganahan po ka sa estudyante? Crush po nimo kay gwapo-gwapa. So, na nimo. What is Section 7 is telling us is that the teacher shall exercise utmost professional discretion, avoidance, scandal, or gossip. Dili, bawal ha? Pwede. Basta ayaw lang ng below 18 kay makuan ka ana may balaodan dili pwede ang katong sa mga below 18. Pero kung college pwede. Pero below 18 dili pwede. Now kung high school, grade 11, grade 12, wala ta siya nga makagraduate. Pwede. Hindi pinagbabawal. What's unethical is if the teacher mag-demonstrate ng kanyang affection sa learner na makita ng mga estudyante, makita ng kanyang mga kabarangay. Uy, uyab ni ma'am. Uy, estudyante din na sa kuwan dito, o di ba? Scandal, gossip. Madaot ang teaching profession, pero dili bawal. So, grabe na siya nga pag-antos. Kung namo sa mall, di pwede mo holding hands. Physical distancing din mo maglakaw na. Pero uyab mo. Pwede ba din ba maglakaw mo sa mall 1 meter, 2 meters distance na bigyan mo ba lang nga uyab mo. Basta the teacher shall exercise utmost professional discretion para hindi maskandal, hindi kayo machismis. Pero pwede. Unethical pag machismis mo, unethical na siya. That's what Section 7 is telling us. Section 8, the teacher shall not inflict corporal punishment. Oy, dili pwede mangusi, dili pwede mamunal. Or punishment on offending learners or make deductions ay minusan ang score sa exam kay maldito ay deduction from scholastic ratings as punishment for acts not clearly demonstration poor scholarship. Wala kayong mahimo kung bright kayong estudyante nimo unya. Medyo sarcastic mo tubag sa imo. Dito na kamubawi sa iyang deportment. Pero sa academic grades, sa kanyang performance as a student, especially sa academic, hindi pwedeng mag-deduct sa kanyang score, sa kanyang grades. Lalo na yung corporal punishment. Unethical. Section 9, the teacher shall ensure that conditions contributing to the maximum development of learners and adequate and shall extend made the sense of vending zone. Ibig sabihin ng Section 9 that since ang teacher ang professional, siya ang may hawak ng klase, the teacher shall ensure that the conditions are contributive, meaning it supports maximum development for the learners. Kung ano yung kaya niyang ibibigay niya sa learner. Kung ano yung kaya niyang i-prepare niya para sa learners. Grabe no? Idealistic talaga ang ating code of ethics. Okay, and shall extend needed assistance in preventing or solving. Yan, tawagan ng estudyante pag mag-absent. At sa mga bukid, adtuan pa sa teacher sa pikas bungtod. Sa hitabuan estudyante ni ay wala din eskwela kay tabang sayang mama kay nag-imong uling kay baligya pa may tugbugas. So the teacher shall extend needed assistance para hindi mabagsak ang learner. Okay? That's Section 9. Article 11. Lapit na tayong matapos. 9 pa na eh. Article 9, the teacher and the parents. Ito medyo crucial din ito kasi about the parents, no? Yung mga nagbabayad sa atin as teachers. Mga parents mga nagbabayad sa tuition. Section 1. Anong sasabi Section 1? The teacher shall establish and maintain cordial relations with parents. Oy, ma'am, hello, good morning, how are you? Thank you for coming to our meeting. And shall conduct himself to merit their confidence and respect. Ito ha, tingnan nyo to. The teacher shall conduct himself to merit their confidence and respect. Dito papasok yung paano ka magsalita. Paano ka makipag-deal with with the parent. Respectful ka ba? Paano ka magturo? Paano ka magturo sa estudyante mo kasi ang mga estudyante magsumbong sa parent nila. Ma, siguro pa sa teacher ko ang mo ngani-ana, di siya ka mo tudlo ana. You will lose the confidence of the parents. So dito papasok yung kailangan master natin ating subject matter to merit the confidence and respect of our parents. So unethical yung you don't maintain a good relation with the parents of your learners. Section 2, the teachers shall inform parents through proper authorities. Ayan, ethical, kailangan i-report sa parents yung progress or deficiencies ng kanilang anak. Unethical, kung hindi mo ni-inform yung parent tapos binabagsak, unethical yun. What else? In reporting to the parent, especially kung deficient, exercise utmost candor and tact in pointing out learners' deficiencies. So, dili ka pwedeng nga, ma'am, imong anak man ba? Slow learner ka, ayun naman na siya. Sayo naman kahit itong lesson, wag siya kagets. Ay, unethical. How do you say that? How do you report that to the parent? Exercise utmost candor, honest pa rin, pero may tact, hindi tactless, with tact in pointing out the learner's deficiencies. Ma'am, I think our students, your son needs to with ano gyapon siya, with honesty, but at the same time merong professional na way pagsabi. Okay? So hindi yung patakalag mama, patakalag storya nga. Ay, mo anak mo no? So unethical yun siya. Okay? Section 3, the teacher shall hear the parents' complaints with sympathy and understanding and shall discourage unfair criticism. Ayan. Unethical. Section 3 ha, ang unethical dito, kung ang parent isumbong sa imo, ma'am, yung teacher sa pikas mang ba, ano lagi na siya, di kabalo man, ikaw po kayo man, anagin na siya man, discourage unfair criticism. Unethical for the teacher na kanang sulol-sul po siya, mudagdag po siya, o bitaw, hindi nakabalo man. Unfair criticism. What's ethical? Sige lang ma'am, kay so, instead na sakyan niya ang parent, ano na siya kanang ma'am kanang actually ma'am inani nga we're still on the process of improving the way the teacher teaches this one thing. Okay? Maminaw ka sa complaint with sympathy understanding, but the teacher should discourage unfair criticism. Uban man gud kay musakay pud sa storya no makiglibak pud. So it's yun ang unethical law. Article 10 na tayo, the teacher and the business. Pwede ba magnegosyo ang teacher? Okay, the teacher has the right to engage and directly pwedeng mag-business. Section 1, as long as it does not adversely affect his work. Pwede kang mag-business, mag-online seller ka paggabi, teacher ka sa umaga, online seller paggabi, as long as maka-duty ka pa rin ng 7:40. Pero kung magsina kag ka-late, kay duwi ka natulog, kay nag-online selling ka, wala na. It's unethical yung business. Yung pag-join sa business. Pwede ka mag-business as long as it does not adversely affect your work as a teacher. Section 2, the teacher shall maintain a good reputation with respect to financial matters such as settlement of his debts, loans. Yan, magbayad-bayad po ng utang. Kung mangutang, magmayad po. To maintain good reputation. Yan. Kay mangutang, ikabalo mabayad. Madoubt ang teaching profession because of that. Imagine na kung tanang teachers mangutang, di ka balong mayad. Ang mga teachers para utang, di ka balong mayad. Ma-overgeneralize na. Okay? So pwede, as long as you are responsible in settling your debts. Section 3, no teacher shall act directly or indirectly as agent. O yan, di pwedeng maging agent or mag-business ng libro. Hindi pwedeng maging agent ng isang publishing. Tapos ikaw ang mabaligya sa mga estudyante. Ako, as a teacher, I just encourage my students to buy the book, for example, in my subject, but I'm not related to, or I'm not connected financially or in business with the publisher. Okay? So hindi pwede. Even if yung mga school commodities, yan, hindi pwede. Except kung it's your assignment or your appointment na mag-purchase ng mga books. Especially kung na-assign ka sa library or librarian, assign ka niyan, pwede. Pero unethical for a teacher to directly or indirectly become an agent or be financially interested in yan sa mga pag-furnish ng textbooks and other school commodities. Article 11, the teacher as a person, shall live with dignity. Nasabi ko na ito kanina, Article 11, din ako nabalikon. Meron section 4, hindi ko nasalit ng section 4 kanina sa professionalism. Section 4, the teacher shall always recognize the Almighty God as a guide for his own destiny and the days of men. So, we have to recognize our supreme being who guides us in our daily mga activities in our daily dealings. Okay? Article 12, ito na yung disciplinary actions. If ever na mayroong violation, ang mangyayari is revocation of registration or lisensya. If ever. And suspension from the practice kung sobra na. Suspension from the practice kung grave na ang kaniyang violation. And cancellation of the license. Article 13, effectivity. Okay, so that ends my presentation. Ano ba? Tama-tama. 11 na. I hope I delivered it in a way na na-remind kayo. I know na alam niyo naman yan. Binilisan na lang natin kasi para ma-remind lang tayo na yun pala yung Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers. So once again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for inviting me. Once again, congratulations sa mga interns. Padayon lang mo. Hapit na mo mga teachers. Gamay na lang. Konting tempo pa lang. Teachers na mo. Have a nice day. Thank you, Ma'am Jean. Thank you, everyone.
Sir, thank you, sir. So,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
do you have any question pa for Sir A? And so thank you so much, Sir A, for discussing the Code of Ethics for Teachers. Thank you, thank you. Apa so si Ma'am Queenie. Taon, sir. So thank you so much, Sir A. So let us have the last speaker for this internship orientation. We have Ma'am Jamaica Zamora from the IBED department. She will talk about do's and don'ts. So let's give her a virtual clap. Hi, Ma'am Jam. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, everyone as well. Ma'am Jean, I'll just share my screen po.
Yes, po.
Okay. Share screen. Can everybody see my screen now? Ma'am Jean, makita na siya, Ma'am Jean?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me just try this one out muna ha, if the video's audio would play as well. Can you hear the audio of this video that I'm playing? Marinig po siya, Ma'am Jean?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so I guess let me just press on. So before anything else, everyone, I would like to start my presentation with this motivational clip, which I hope would make also an impact on you as soon to become teachers. Okay, let's start with the video.
Ma'am Jam.
Ma'am Jean?
Di po pala marinig yung audio, ma'am.
Ay. Okay, Ma'am Jean, I'll just try to skip the video part instead.
Sige po.
And just proceed with my presentation directly to the do's and don'ts of online teaching, because probably most of the attendees here wants to have some break after this one. So let me just make this one real quick. Interns. So my topic for this morning, by the way, let me just introduce myself. I am Jamaica J. Zamora, also a proud alumna of this institution. And I am now currently working in JMC, specifically in the junior high school faculty. So it's my 3 years now in this institution. So as what we all know, class or interns, before we used to have or we're used to this face-to-face teaching. The teachers and the students will meet each other in a place we call classroom. And there is this real-time interaction between them. And it is easier to conduct meaningful activities when we do teaching inside the classroom and when it is face-to-face. So some of the pictures of the activities that we have conducted last year in my subject are here. Ito yun sila. However, because of this pandemic, we were forced to somewhat shift into online teaching quite abruptly, like without much preparation. But as teachers, we need to be adaptive. We need to be open to change. So we did not back out when we heard that we are going to shift from face to face to online teaching, but rather we took this as a challenge. And this is one challenge as well that you will face in the future when you do your internship. So as you can see here, it says, there's no tired like teacher tired when you are conducting online classes. But just like in other aspects, when there's change, difficult talaga yan at first. But if you do not stop, if you find ways in order to navigate yourself, in order to somewhat adapt to what has changed around you, then you will be able to survive. And so I present to you here, this is a screenshot of one of my classes with the grade 9 students that I am handling. So ito na yung magiging interface nyo in the future when you are already in your internship. So ganyan siya. So how did we teachers survive the shift from the face-to-face teaching to online teaching? So intro pa lang tayo ha. All you have to do is, or the only thing you need is to possess the different characteristics of a 21st century teacher. Now, can I ask a question to you interns? I believe you know already, diba, some of the characteristics of a 21st century teacher. Who would like to at least enumerate one? Give us one. Ano yung characteristic dapat ni 21st century teacher in order for him or her to survive in this time of pandemic, to effectively conduct online classes in the midst of pandemic? What characteristic can you enumerate? Anyone? Can I call the names? Let me hear from Ella. Oy, teachers, huh? When you are conducting online classes and you are asking your students to answer a question, you would be frustrated if they don't answer. Mm? And that's exactly what you're making me feel right now. I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear your voice. Can somebody please give at least one characteristic of a 21st century teacher? Because that is going to be you soon. You have to possess those characteristics. So dapat alam nyo kung ano yon. Ella,
Yes, ma'am. The first is the communicator.
a communicator. What
Yes
does it
po.
mean, Ella, to be a communicator? When a teacher is a communicator, what does it mean? Does it mean that he or she should talk all day when conducting classes online? What does it mean to be a communicator, Ate Ella? Just based on your understanding of that word, Ate, how can we say that a teacher is a communicator when he or she what? What about the others, the other participants?
Ma'am, I have an idea po.
Okay, Ate, please feel free to share your idea po.
Digitally literate.
Okay, digitally, aside from being a communicator, a 21st century teacher must be digitally literate. Okay? What else? What else? Just give me one last characteristic. Communicator, digitally literate. Anyone?
Globally competitive.
And a globally competitive teacher. So you are saying that a 21st century teacher must be a communicator, digitally literate, and then also what was the last one?
Globally
A
competitive.
globally competitive type of teacher. Your answers are correct. And I just like to show you more of the characteristics that a 21st century teacher must possess. So first class, he or she must be adaptive, or you in the future must be adaptive. Meaning, when there are changes, when problems arise, when shifts, especially from face to face, nag-shift tayo bigla sa online teaching, dapat adaptive ka. You do not somewhat, you do not stay with your old ways in teaching. Dapat, you shouldn't say na, I was used to using Manila paper, to using cartolina, or to making my students read before. And that's exactly what I'm going to do now in the online class. Dapat adaptive ka. You should know the different tools that you can use in order to make online learning still as effective as face-to-face teaching or learning. Next is, dapat lifelong learner ka. Meaning class doesn't mean that you are already a teacher, you will stop learning. It's quite the opposite. Now that you are a teacher, you have to learn more things because you cannot share something that you do not have in you. So, what learnings can you share to your students if you have none in yourself? Okay, remember, a teacher, you do not just teach contents of the book, but also lessons about life. And most of the time, lessons about life are the things that your students will remember from you. And lastly, kanina sinabi ng isa sa inyo that a 21st century teacher must be a tech savvy, meaning he or she must be a digital literate. He or she is a teacher who uses her laptop, who uses her phone, not simply to post status on Facebook, or to post new pictures on Instagram. But he or she uses these gadgets in order to provide effective or engaging contents to the learners, especially in an online setup. So these are the three important characteristics of a 21st century teacher. And these characteristics are the things you must possess as well as you conduct your online classes in the future. Now that we are done with the characteristics class, let us proceed to our main topic for this morning, which is all about the do's and don'ts of online teaching. So aside from knowing the characteristics you must possess in order for you to be well prepared for this new setup in education, you need to know the do's and don'ts of online teaching. And hopefully, this presentation will somewhat help you prepare for your internship in the future. And it will also hopefully give you a sense of, para bang, I am ready to take on this new challenge because I have been guided. Okay, so let's start with, kanina we said that a 21st century teacher must be digitally literate or a tech savvy. So it says here, class, by the way, this presentation has been divided into three. Meron tayong before instruction, meron din tayong during instruction, and then we have the after instruction do's and don'ts. So the first thing is, before instruction, you should be proficient in using digital tools. So even before you start with your online classes, dapat you know how to use different digital tools in order to teach online. So say for example, you know how to use your laptop as what I've said earlier. And what you see here on this side, ito, Jamboard. This is one of the feature of Gmeet. It's an app, it's a video conferencing app that we are using in JMC's junior high school department. So on Jamboard class, it is just one of those digital tools that you can use. It's like a board, however, it is digital. But in this board, you can actually interact with your students. So, say for example, you are an English teacher. In this Jamboard, you can ask your students to provide a sentence, paste it here in the board, and then they could also encircle words in the sentences that you have provided. So para kayong may board work, pero online siya, at saka digital yung board na ginagamit ninyo. So this one is very helpful and will be very helpful to you in the future. So pag mag-internship na kayo, I hope that you will make use of the Jamboard of Google Meet. Okay, now that's the thing you need to do. Be proficient in using digital tools. However, class, there is something you must avoid. Avoid using new tools that can lead to tech difficulties until you are comfortable with them. So say for example, it is your first time to use, or you heard that Google Meet can be used for video conferencing. It could help you conduct online classes. Do not use Google Meet unless you are comfortable with it, meaning you know how to use it properly. You have mastered all its different features so that when you introduce it to your students and then they are somewhat confused, ma'am, paano to gamitin, ma'am? Anong gamit nito na feature, ma'am? Ma'am, paano po i-on yung camera ko, ma'am? Paano po mag-share ng screen ko, ma'am? You can answer those questions because you have mastered the tool you have presented them already. So again, please bear in mind, interns, avoid using new tools that can lead to tech difficulties until you are comfortable with them. So I hope that is clear. Next tayo is, this is another digital tool. We call this one as Kahoot. I believe everyone has heard of this before. Kahoot is actually an app that allows you to make interactive quizzes. So pwedeng kahit anong subjects, gawan mo ng quiz dito sa Kahoot. And the good thing about Kahoot class is it makes your quizzes something that is interesting, thrilling, and enjoyable to your students. Kasi sa Kahoot, students will be answering quizzes in a race manner, para sila nag-race ba. And then their rankings will be displayed on a board. So parang yung competitive spirit nila matap because of this Kahoot. So they will know, rank 1 ako, wow, rank 2 ako. So they will enjoy the quiz. The quiz will be something they will look forward to if you use Kahoot. So just, you may make a list of these apps and then you research about them after this seminar. Next is, we also have different digital tools for conferencing, for video conferencing. When you're conducting your classes, you can use the following. Eto class, may Google Meet tayo. Wait for a while, let me just go back. Google Meet, Zoom is what we're currently using right now. At ito namang Microsoft Teams. So instead of seeing or meeting students inside the classroom class and talking to them inside the classroom, this is what your everyday online class would look like. Students are in the comforts of their home while you are in the comfort of your own home as well. So ganito na siya. Parang so close yet so far ang drama. Okay. Now let's proceed to our next slide. It says here, before instruction, you need to make sure that your background is presentable. When we say background is presentable, class, it means that don't let students see a stack of dirty clothes or an undone bed behind you. So say for example, most of the time ngayon, diba, we are using our rooms in the house that became our workplace. Make sure, class, na although you are working inside your room or at home, you need to make sure that still your background is presentable. Might as well look for a plain wall, yun ang gawin mong background, or clean your room before you start with your online class. Because the last thing you would like your students to see is, that your room is dirty. Remember, as a teacher, you have an image to protect, and you don't want your students thinking that, messy pala si mom or si sir. So as much as possible, make sure that your background is presentable. Walang masyadong clutter, because if there are lots of things that students see in your background, chances are they will get distracted during classes. So make sure presentable siya. Next is, before instruction, this is imperative, this is vital, very important. Be ready. Be ready. Don't come to your online classes unprepared. So sometimes because we have spent so much time cleaning our room, we forgot na, I need to prepare the materials for tomorrow's discussion pa pala. I need to somewhat design activities pa pala for tomorrow's discussion. And then the next thing you know, you just slept, and then you woke up the next morning and have nothing prepared for the day's lesson. So that's a big no-no if you are to become a teacher or even during your internship in the near future. Dapat si teacher always ready yan siya when you face your students. So be ready with your materials, be ready with your presentations. Do not just share your screen and open a Word file and let your students read whatever is in that file. No, that shows you are unprepared. Do not also send PDF files in advance to your students and ask them to read that file and then mag-quiz na kayo diretso sa meeting ninyo without discussion. No. As much as possible, prepare PowerPoint presentations, prepare videos that will help you discuss your topic. Be ready. You are a teacher, so you have to be ready. Don't come to your online classes unprepared because whether you say it or not, the students will know whether the teacher is prepared or unprepared. And you don't want to make them think na you are unprepared. Okay, next thing tayo. Next is before instruction. Do set an alarm. So because we are working at home, we don't need to travel. We are somewhat para bang naiengganyo tayo to take more sleep, yung ganon. Or because we have prepared the materials, the activities the last night, so we stayed up very late, we overslept the next morning, and as a result, naging late tayo sa classes. And again, it's a big no-no to be late in your class, even in your online classes. So you have to set your alarm. You need help when waking up, yes. So set an alarm. Don't be late in your online classes. So it's like this class. Although it's online classes, dapat pa rin, the teacher is the first person in the meet. So say for example, kami, we are using our Google Meets. So we should be the first one inside the meet. And we are supposed to welcome our students, not the students welcoming us in our own Gmeet link. So again, don't be late in your online classes. And also, if the teacher is late, it will give the students an impression na, late si teacher. So I could be late as well. And you don't want them to think that way because that's not right. That's wrong. Okay, now let's proceed to the next one. During instruction, dress presentably. Don't wear shabby or worn out clothes. So sometimes, since it is just work from home, we might say na, it's okay to wear an oversized t-shirt or to wear what do you call that one? Sweatshirt. What do you call that one? Sweatshirts or yung mga ano lang, mga jackets, mga ganon. No. You are a teacher, so you have to be as presentable as possible in front of your students. So although you're working at home, mas forgivable pa class na you don't take a bath before conducting online classes because it will not look obvious unless you are dressed presentably. Okay? Just dress presentably kasi it will be too obvious to your students that you are not prepared and it seems like you're not taking them seriously if you are not dressed presentably. So in the future, if you engage in online classes na as interns, you have to wear proper outfit. Follow the dress code still. Face your students as a professional. Next is, eto na, we are now on the second part of our discussion, the presentation. So during instruction class, these are the things that you have to do while you are conducting your online class. Hello, are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Kasi I can see some of you. Okay, so during instruction again, these are the things that you need to remember when you are already conducting a class online. first is make sure your lessons have clear learning objectives. I guess this is true even during the face-to-face teaching. The face-to-face teaching, you must have clear learning objectives. Why? I will no longer ask you a question this time. So don't worry. Don't be nervous over there. When we say objectives kasi class, these are our targets, diba? This will serve as our guide. This will give the students an idea, a picture of what is going to happen, in the class during that day. So alam na nila what they should do, how they should do it, and then when or what time, how long is the time they have to do a certain task. So that's what the learning objectives are all about. It serves as the guide, and they serve as a guide, and they're also our targets. So avoid random activities with no clear learning objectives. So gaya nung magpa quiz for no reason because not prepared, or the teacher will ask the student to read the story on page blah 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 of your book and then answer the comprehension questions afterwards. Walang objectives kasi hindi alam ni teacher kung ano yung gagawin niya. Hindi niya alam kung saan niya dalhin yung klase kasi wala siyang clear na learning objectives. Now, in order for you to ensure class that your learning objectives are clear, you have to make the objectives SMART. What do we mean by SMART? It's actually an acronym, and S stands for specific, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for relevant, and then T for time-based or time-bound. So what do we mean when we say clear learning objectives are SMART? Let's just watch this video. It's okay without the audio. So just watch the video to refresh your knowledge about objectives. So now it's going to create a SMART objective. Okay, so when you have clear learning objectives, class, you and your students will be guided. You will not get lost in the middle of the lesson. So I believe you know already about SMART, so I will not dig deeper into this one. Let me proceed instead to our next slide. So during instruction, give explicit instructions. What do we mean by explicit instructions? When we say explicit, class, meaning the instructions are stated clearly and in detail. Again, explicit instructions are those stated clearly and in detail, leaving no room for confusion or doubt. So in order for you to create explicit instructions, You have to make sure that every assignment should be clear with an appropriate length of time for completion. So dapat yung instruction nyo in whatever activity you will give your students or in whatever assignment you want them to do, your instructions must be clear. Stated kung ano ang expected sa kanila at kung kailan nila dapat i-submit ang output or ang assignment. Now, I would like everyone to focus on the word appropriate. Because considering class that we are doing classes, what do you call that one? We are in the midst of this pandemic and we are conducting online classes. This word appropriate is very important in these times. Why? Take note, appropriate length of time for completion. Yung time na dapat matapos ng students, yung project or assignment is dapat appropriate. Why? To illustrate the importance of why it is important to give appropriate time for completion with assignments, I'd like to borrow the words of John Spencer. He is also a teacher, and he said that it speaks volumes, these words, class, and it is really true during these times. It says here, please show students grace with online learning. Please read with me. In a K-12 environment, you'll have students who are stepping up to provide child care for younger siblings. You'll have kids who are living in a state of uncertainty and chaos. Be generous with deadlines and be open to excusing assignments. So in the future, you will be assigning, as interns, you will be assigning students with some assignments or some projects. Make sure that you are generous in giving them deadlines. Okay? Because we don't know what our students are going through behind the screen. So if ever a student turned in an assignment or a project quite late, you have to ask that student first. Kuya, ate, what's the reason why you submitted your assignment or your project late? Then let him or her speak. And if the reason is valid, then you accept the output and do not deduct a point for that output of the student. Be generous. Let's understand each other in this time of pandemic because you don't know what they're going through. Huwag kayong masyadong hectic in the future na, late ka, deduction. Oh, I will no longer accept that one. No, you should be graceful when you are assigning assignments to your students. Okay, next thing tayo. During instruction, give students time to share their insights. Now, you might think, class, that in an online type of learning, it is the sole responsibility of the teacher to provide information. And so the teacher has to talk at all times. But it's the other way, actually. And in an online type of setup, you must give your students time to share their insights, meaning their opinions about the things around them, how they understand the things that are happening around them. You just have to ask the right questions in order to elicit these insights or to elicit the right responses coming from your students. You don't have to talk at all times when you are conducting online classes. You just have to prepare the right questions to ask your students in order for you to get their insights. So it says here, do not monopolize the conversation, especially when you are dealing with kids, the young ones in the elementary or even in the high school 7 and 8. Please do not just keep on talking unless you are giving instructions or unless you are explaining a concept. But after explaining a concept, do give them time to speak as well. Ganun ha, please remember that one. Do not monopolize the conversation. Hear out your students because chances are may magaganda silang insights. So you have to hear those things as well. And also, class, before I proceed, if you allow students to share their insights, parang they get a sense of parang my teacher values my opinion. My teacher values my answers, something like that. And my teacher somewhat she makes me feel like I belong by asking for my opinion regarding a certain thing. Kapag ikaw lang salita ng salita, then the students might think na, oh, okay, si teacher lang parang important dito. and they will become passive, something like that. So let them speak. Let them search for information on the internet while you are conducting your classes, and let them share those information to them or to the class. Next is during instruction, stay in a quiet and secure place. I'm so sorry because I think I have violated this one when I am presenting to you, while I am presenting to you this morning. I believe you can hear the background noises. I'm so sorry for that. It's because the noise canceling feature of my headset is unfortunately not functioning. It's broken at the moment. I'll have to have it fixed. So, as much as possible, if you can, stay in a quiet and secure place. Do not stay in a place where there are people who suddenly shouts, just like a while ago. Somebody just shouted. It's from my neighbors. And do not stay in a place near the television. We don't have a problem if the television is off, but if it is on while you are talking, that's a big no-no. Stay away from barking dogs as well, because the background noises when you are conducting classes could be distracting to your students. So you don't want to disturb or to distract them with those noise. Next is stay in a secure place. So the safest place to conduct online classes is inside your room siguro. Or if ever you have an empty room that you could turn into an office at your home, then stay in that place. A place that no other person in the house could suddenly enter into. Yung ganun ba? Not in a place na daan-daanan ng mga tao, because those things in your background as well could be distracting to your students. So stay in a quiet and secure place. And also, I have an experience wherein I won't name names here, but I know I just won't share it. Do not place your working table in an area where people pass by or anywhere near the television or a barking dog. So please bear that one in mind. Or if ever you are living with, say for example, you don't have your own room or an office perhaps where you could conduct online classes in the future as you do your internship, then you can just ask other people in the house to, okay, I would just like to ask for some time for you to be silent for a moment because I'm going to conduct my classes. So that could be also. Next is we are now on the last part. Interns, I hope that you are with me still on this part. I guess we are on the last part na talaga, isa na lang. So after instruction class, we have communicate with your students and with their parents. So remember that the job of a teacher, your job in the future if you become interns, is not only to teach contents coming from the book or to teach students things that they need to learn. No, your job doesn't end there. It is also your job to communicate with your students and with their parents. Yung tinatawag natin class na feedbacking ba? So you have to talk with the students regarding their performance in class. If ever low yung scores nila in your quiz or especially sa exam, if ever they miss to submit an output, if ever they have been absent for consecutive days already, you need to ask them, what's the reason? What's the reason? And then once you've heard of the reasons, you need to verify those with the parents. So kausapin mo ngayon si parents. Totoo po ba ito? This is what your son or daughter told me. These are the reasons kung bakit um, absent siya. So most of the time ngayon, ang reason ng students why they're absent in online classes is poor internet connection. So you have to verify that one to the parents. Kung totoo ba talaga siya or is the child simply making an excuse? So verify. Kasi class, the relationship we have with our with our students and with their parents is just like other relationships. There must be communication in order to nurture it. So ganun dapat. We need to talk from time to time with our students and with their parents if necessary. However, do not forget to set boundaries. You know what? I have experienced a student called me through Messenger late at night. Then they would also call you during weekends. As much as possible, set a boundary when it comes to when you communicate with your students. Tell them na, okay, class, as much as possible, communicate with me or contact me regarding your concerns or if ever you have questions within this time period. Tapos within weekdays lang class, something like that. If hindi masyadong urgent yung concern niya, pero if urgent, okay, any time of day, pwede kang i-contact. Pero as much as possible, do not forget to set boundaries. Kasi it's quite exhausting as well. Dapat i-separate mo pa rin yung personal life mo from your professional life as much as possible. May boundary dapat sa gitna so that you don't get stressed. Okay, so when dealing with the parents, please take a look at this one. It shouldn't be like this. Remember, dapat may cordial relations and you should conduct yourself with merit. So do not be disrespectful in front of your parents, in front of the parents. Treat them properly with respect, the way you want to be treated. So don't do like this if ever a parent is asking you about the grade of a child or something. Because at some point in your life in the future, when you become teachers, there are really times wherein you will hear concerns from the parents, and some of those concerns will be somewhat, or the parents will approach you in a not so good, not in the proper way sometimes kasi madala din sila ng emotions. But you need to somewhat be respectful still with your parents at all times, okay? So I guess I would end my discussion with this slide already. And I would like to show this video to you. It's actually about letters. It's actually about teachers writing letters to themselves on their first day. Pero since you cannot hear the audio, let me just skip this one. And I guess, Ma'am Jean,
Yes,
that's where I will end my presentation po.
thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, thank you po.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Jam, for those noteworthy information and input for our interns. They will certainly carry those as they will be deployed to IBED few weeks from now. So for English major students, yourself, Ma'am Jam, would probably be your cooperating teacher.
I look forward to working with them in the future, ma'am. Thank you, Ma'am Jean,
Thank
for
you,
this privilege. Thank you, and thank you as well, interns, for bearing with me in my presentation. God bless everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, so once again, we would like to express our gratitude to all our speakers from day one up to this day of our internship orientation for imparting those vital information as guidance for our interns as they go along with their responsibility as practice teachers a few weeks from now. So thank you so much. And we would also like to acknowledge the presence of our program head, Ma'am Queenie Osorio. Hi, ma'am. Good morning. Ma'am Queenie is here. Okay, so before we end this program, we have a special song number from one of our interns that would definitely inspire our future teachers to embrace their chosen profession as they would reflect their passion towards achieving their goals in life and embracing its impact within themselves and in their environment. So give a virtual clap to Christian Anhara Benabese, a fourth-year BS Ed English student.
Look at me, you may think you see who I really am, but you'll never know. Every day, it's as if I play a part. Now I see If I wear a mask, I can fool the world, but I cannot fool my heart. Who is that girl I see staring straight back at me? When will my reflection show who I am inside? I am now in a world where I have to hide my heart and what I believe in, but somehow I will show the world what's inside my heart and be loved for who I am. Who is that girl I see staring straight back at me? When is my reflection someone I don't know? Must I pretend that I'm someone else for all time? When will my reflection show who I am inside? There's a heart that must be free to fly, that burns with a need to know the reason why. Why must we all conceal what we think, how we feel? Must there be a secret me I'm forced to hide? I won't pretend that I'm someone else for all time. When will my reflection show who I am inside? When will my reflection show who I am inside?
Okay, thank you so much for preparing that one, Har. Thank you for that very touching song. Before we end this program, I would like to request everyone to please open your cameras for our pictorial. Okay, everyone, please turn on your cameras. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Wait lang. Wait lang. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so thank you. And for us to formally end the program, may we call on Muning? Is Muning here for the closing prayer? Wala si Muning, no? Pero nato siya kaganina. Can we have Hamlag for the closing prayer? Just a short one. Thank you. Uh,
bowed down our heads and put our presence into the Lord. Lord, thank you so much for this wonderful day that you offered to us. Thank you for the presence of the interns, especially the presence of the speakers and our host today, Lord. As we part the ways today, Lord, please bless our ways. Um, we will be we will be guided by your blessings and powers, and as we continue our journey as future educators, please help us to be an effective, efficient future educators that always be guided by the authority of JMC. All this we pray through your most holy name, Jesus Christ.
Amen.
So thank you everyone, Sir A. Thank you, Sir. Ma'am Queen, thank you. And God bless for our interns. No, kay happy na ma-deploy. So thank you. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, sir. Thank you.
Everyone, interns. God bless.